Hello, everybody. Welcome to the NEPA Scene Podcast, the only live streaming face-to-face arts and entertainment podcast covering northeastern Pennsylvania, offering a true alternative voice in local media. We're coming to you from the NEPA Scene studio underneath Center City Print in downtown Scranton. I'm Rich Howells, the founder and editor of NEPA Scene. Summer Costco's behind the scenes in the producer's chair. And tonight, we're here with Wilkes-Barre post-hardcore rock band So Much Hope Buried. Period.
Yes.
They're playing an album release show on Friday, June 26th at the River Street Jazz Cafe in Plains with Look Back Luna and Feverton. So we're going to be talking about their new album, Wither Grow, and the story it tells across 10 tracks, the origins and developments of the group over the last 6 years, how the piano and saxophone elevate their sound and help them stand out with so many other rock bands out there. Their cinematic music videos and high-quality social media content, recording in Eric's Novro Studios in Shavertown. Their debut album, I'd Be Lying to Say I'm Not Weak. The influence of religious faith in their music, and much, much more. So please join the conversation with your questions and comments down below. We'll get to those later on in the show. So anything you want to mention about these guys, if you've seen them live before, or if you listened to their music before, or just anything you want to add to the conversation in general, please leave that down below. We will get to that later in the show. And it helps boost us on the algorithm and reach more and more people. So then that way, local music is in your feed instead of all that other stuff. So without further ado, Summer, cue the music. NEPA Scene is brought to you by Center City Print, bringing your ideas to life in 3 locations, Scranton, Kingston, and Hazleton. These one-stop shops are locally owned and operated, providing high-quality print products at affordable prices. From business cards, brochures, and banners to posters, flyers, and tickets, let their custom design solutions and exceptional customer service make your next project a reality. Use promo code NEPA Scene in person or online at centercityprint.com for 10% off.
Kinda.
Yeah, it's like.
Please start by introducing yourselves and your position in the band, if you would.
Cool. I'm Eric Navrosky. I play drums, and I'm the producer in So Much Hope Buried.
I'm Derek Nowak. I play the piano, I sing, and the saxophone in So Much Hope Buried.
I am Andrew Blank. I play guitar and also sing in So Much Hope Buried.
I'm Gavin Jacobs. I play bass and I sing a little bit in So Much Hope Buried.
So let's go back to long before the band. How did you first get into music? What made you first pick up an instrument?
My parents told me that I was going to play piano. And I was like, I don't like piano, I want to play drums. So,
But you like piano players, though, right?
no, honestly, one of the biggest, not at all. One of the biggest musical regrets is that I didn't stick with piano. I can kind of tinker around. I can sort of get my way. I know a little bit about music theory, but to like the muscle memory of playing is very difficult still. But when I was 6, is when I got my first drum set. And I was like, this is way cooler than piano. So I kind of stuck with that one. And then I picked up a guitar at 13, a bass at 15. Yeah, that's kind of the mains, the big main ones right there.
Yeah, for me, it was just from my parents just blasting music ad nauseum growing up. And then my brother had an acoustic guitar with him always, and we sang as brothers. and together. And then that's when my brother kind of started dabbling on the piano, and then I wanted to be just like him, of course, and that's where I kind of got into that, and that's pretty much it for my story, really.
What about sax?
The saxophone I played in high school. That's right. That's a big part of the band.
There you go.
But no, yeah, the saxophone I played in marching band and jazz band and concert band in high school. So, and then me and my brothers formed a band called Hybrid Sessions, and I played saxophone
Shout out.
in that. That was my first band with my
Lot of
brothers.
bands.
Band
So,
of brothers.
of course.
I feel like I was part of a generation of people that were like heavily inspired by like the Guitar Hero series. I feel like I was one of those kids that went down the wormhole of like I could expert everything on Guitar Hero. Now it's time to move on to the real deal, because that was like 12, 13 for me. So that's roughly when I picked up the guitar.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I grew up in a very musical household. My mom was super supportive, so I started playing guitar when I was like 8 or 9. I played in a couple bands. Well, my main band, Escape Artist in Central PA, and picked up bass when I joined this group, and it's been fun. So
Speaking of other bands, maybe we could talk a little bit about maybe other bands you've done before this, or
absolutely.
anything that you're in currently as well, in addition to this.
Like,
yeah,
Gavin's the only one actively in another band.
yeah,
Right.
definitely.
But like that kind of like correlates with the origin of how this band kind of came to be. We all like knew each other. Well, I gave a story on a podcast we did yesterday where I kind of met Derek through his band that he had with his brothers. So Hybrid Sessions was my introduction to meeting him. And then the three of us ended up going to community college together at LCC. And then we were all in like a group of, we were all in like a social group of like band. We were in bands that knew other bands.
Okay.
So yeah, it's very interesting. But at the time, I was in we've done interviews before. I was in a pop punk band called Send Request, which that was kind of like that was like my intro to the local music scene. So that's no longer a deal. And then I just moved over to So Much Hope, and here we are.
Gavin?
Yeah, I mean, Escape Artist has been a project I've played in for the last like 10, going on like 15 years. Man, which is just a weird thing to say, but
Which is how I met Gavin.
that's how I met Eric, and Escape Artist recorded their first EP with Eric at Nabro Studios.
Well, before
And,
that.
I
I used to play in a band called Toothless.
right, yeah.
And they were just here.
Hey, we're just here.
And I since left Toothless. Still love the guys to death. They're still homies. But, just different life paths. But then Toothless and Escape Artist played a show together in March of 2020.
Right before COVID.
Right before the shutdown.
Yeah.
And so I met Gavin. And then they were already kind of talking to somebody about recording with me at some point.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I don't remember
Yeah,
exactly.
we were like
but we hit it
passing
off.
around ideas and
Yeah. We hit it off, and here we are.
Now, I remember when the band first came out, you guys had a little bit of a different sound there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you talk about that and the kind of transition to where you are now.
Yeah, so again, I was also in a couple bands, but during COVID was the time that I just needed to write music, and my friend and we created a piano ballad, and we had spoken poetry, like spoken word stuff with that, as well as like screaming. So like we had this very poetic, melodic, hardcore sound, and I was like obsessed with those kind of bands at the time. So we just kind of formed that, and then that's when I asked Andrew to join, and then we went to Eric's studio to record some vocals, and I asked him to be in it or else. I was like, yes, leave everything you do and just be in my band. No. And then, and that's kind of, and then that's when a couple of years after that's when our sound kind of changed a little bit with some members, coming and going, and now we're sticking with this sound, and we love it. Yeah.
So you guys formed during the pandemic and all that kind of stuff. So were you doing a lot of stuff over webcam type of thing, or did you kind of have, with the studio, like a place that you guys can go that, was safe and everything like that? How did those initial kind of writing sessions go and stuff?
I think it was slower going than you may think because of that.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like we got, we got the personnel and we're like, yo, let's hit it hard. Let's gonna start writing. We just kind of, they had a single done, which is where they track some vocals with me, and I was like, that's a cool song. This could be cool. Yep. And since it was COVID and nobody was doing anything, I joined the band, but the band was just sort of, a single that was kind of being worked on and whatever, Right. So it wasn't until things started opening up a little bit more that we were like, we can write an EP and do stuff together.
And be a band.
That took majority of the time. Like writing the EP, just finalizing that, making sure it sounds good, and then thankfully, once we started to promote the EP, that's when we were able to actually go out and do things again.
Yeah, because
kind of normally.
Our first show with the metal version of So Much Hope was an emo night at the Jazz Cafe. So it's like kind of, I think what the word is serendipitous that we do our album release shows there because it was also our first show there. Yeah. And I grew up playing there too.
Yeah.
And
then to kind of correlate
things
with
were open when we played our first show.
Yeah. I was going to say to correlate with that, I just remember, correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember that it was like it was Joe Caviston's first emo night, post pandemic. It was the first one, right out the gate.
Big comeback.
Yeah, the big comeback emo night. And that was our first show. So it was a big deal because everyone was just hyped to be out in public again.
Yeah, right.
And here we are, just a nervous train wreck, wondering how this is gonna go. But yeah, that was a good night.
It worked out so well with the vibes and it was. You said it sold out, right?
It did sell out. I remember that. It was everyone was just amped to get out.
Ever show being a sold out show, it just felt good.
Yeah.
Well, and as the shows have gone on and you've kind of developed your sound and everything, your sound is really driven by the piano, and you also have the saxophone in some songs. And how have people reacted to that? That had to be wait, why is a rock band doing this? But it really adds such a dynamic to it that really helps you guys stand out. I think.
Yeah, because usually you would want to hear a lead guitar. And but the cool thing is that Andrew really does incorporate those leads into his rhythm stuff really fluently. So adding the piano as the front was just a choice that we made that felt very unique to the scene and to the genre we were doing. So we wanted to stand out in that way. So we hope people are what's happening?
Yeah, I think it became very apparent very early on that people were calling us oh, that's the piano band. So it's the way people word things. So it made sense to us to use that at the forefront and kind of sell the band on that as this piano fronted rock band.
Yeah.
And so, as the guitar player, I going off of what Derek said before. I think I personally am very, I want to work off of what he's doing. So we stay piano centric because it's very easy as the guitar player to just kind of take the rhythmic structures that of what a normal alternative rock band would do. Then all of a sudden you're just not. We would lose some of that uniqueness. So I very much there's a lot of the time as the guitar player where I let him take the forefront of whatever we're creating at the time, and I'll just try to blend in with it. And I think that creates that cool piano atmosphere.
Yeah.
So then in the midst of writing our first LP, we're finishing a song, and Andrew mentions, he's like, Derek, you play sax. Just throw this in.
Yeah.
So we just kind of threw it in, and it ended up working, and then things started getting a little more intentional with the first album, where we were saying, well, this is the first thing that people hear from us, really. I mean, we had 2 singles before that, but this was the first big picture of what this band can do. So we wanted to set a precedent where you're not going to always get the same thing, and if all of a sudden a jazz section comes out, then okay, cool, it's not weird. And now with the second record and what we're working on, or what we just finished now, you can listen to this, and if there's a moment in there that isn't like stereotypical post-hardcore, like fits the genre, it doesn't come off as, wow, that was really weird,
Yeah,
or like,
super
what
left
is this
field.
band
Right.
doing? We kind of set the precedent with the first record that you could probably hear just about anything that, you know, like that might happen here.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was like, it started off with him just knowing how to play. So you're like, let's just put it in there. He
Right.
knows how to play.
And
Let's
Yeah,
go.
there was a huge shift when we like kind of changed the formation of the band. When they like just prior to Gavin joining on, where it was just the three of us, we kind of made this mutual decision that the rule would be there are no rules, and and we just kind of just threw ourselves wholeheartedly into that mentality, and we're just like whatever we create, that's the band we're going to become.
Well, because you guys have several songwriters in the band, and you also have several singers
Yeah.
in the band too. So, how does that work in terms of figuring out who's going to do what, or what parts are going to be incorporated
Well,
where, and that sort of thing?
So the beauty of this band is that like when we write songs together, it's super organic and like it just comes out when we're just like noodling around in the studio. But also we're so blessed to know that like each of us can write a song as well and then just bring it like, hey, check out this full song I just wrote that has all of the dynamics already kind of laid out there. And like, for example, Gavin came to us when he joined the band. He came to us with the second track off this record. So like he just kind of like, here, this is what I can do, and we're like, awesome. Now we all can individually do that now. You know what I mean? So it's so cool.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. Bounce off what he said and what you said before about having 4 songwriters in the band. That you, as a songwriter, I feel like most there's a lot of the time where songwriters want to just kind of like hold on to something as their own, like this is my baby, like let's not adjust it too much.
Right.
This band is one of those unique instances where like we're willing to just throw it into a pool and just like go ahead, morph it however you want. I trust your opinion on this, and we're all very open about that, and
I think
that's a
that's what-
cool predicament to
I
be
think
in.
that's what makes the character of the band.
Yeah.
Some songs came, and Gavin came with Falter, and it was like 90% to what it was. We ended up tweaking the structure a little bit, but for the most part, it's that level of trust, to say, here's what I did, but if you guys tweak it, now it's going to become So Much Hope Buried.
Yeah.
Instead of just being like, oh, here's a Gavin song.
Right.
You guys throw, put your little grummy fingers on there and get in there and do something, and now it like molds into So Much Hope.
Yeah, it's always like a structure that's brought, and then we kind of call it gets so much hopeified.
Yep.
Yeah.
Through the process.
Yeah.
And it literally does. You bring the bones of what you made, and everybody puts in their collaborative effort, and it's So Much Hope.
Which is really cool because, like, I feel like we're all learning about each other as songwriters too.
Yeah.
Because everyone has drastically different taste in this band.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, everyone would. If I came with an idea, I know they would all look at much differently than how I'm looking at. But it all works in the same context. So it's like
I like doing that with the drumless tracks that you guys do.
Yeah.
Where they'll send me something and I'm like, I don't want to hear it with drums. Send it to me without drums, and I'm gonna do something over it, whatever feels natural to me, and then like kind of
Right.
cross check with whatever they did. And sometimes it's very different. They're like, wow, I never would have actually like thought of it that way or felt it that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just think when they call it, I think it's called selfless creativity. When you can create something, but then selflessly be like, go ahead, change it, do whatever you need to do, and let's just like have a good time. And because it's important that everybody feels like they have a role in that
absolutely.
and whatnot, so it doesn't feel like someone is overarching over anybody else.
Yeah.
Although I definitely think unspokenly there is a vocal hierarchy where Derek is our main vocalist,
Absolutely.
Andrew's our backup, Gavin's the third.
Yep.
And that's typically how it goes. So it's like if Derek's singing a main, Andrew has first harmony, Gavin has second harmony.
Yep.
Sometimes you'll hear in the music that Andrew will take lead. Even that, that is done sparingly. That's it is mostly. And now with the new record, Gavin takes the lead a little bit, but as sparingly as Andrew. So yeah, it's definitely like Derek is our lead vocalist, and probably always will be our lead vocalist.
Absolutely. Until you step up.
Until I step.
No, dude. I think drummers who can who also sing. And I think that's the coolest thing in the world.
Oh, well.
Just wait till the third record where Eric has on the giant headset.
Get that Justin Bieber kind
of. The Bieber mic.
Let's go. Or the one that just like is that big overarching like.
Oh yes.
Hook that hooks over the head and just goes right in your mouth.
The only time we'll allow you to sing is when we can turn you into a diva.
Just eating a mic the whole time.
That's when we bust out our first cover of the Backstreet Boys.
Absolutely.
With blast beats.
Blast beats.
So how did you choose the name? I mean, you guys are really positive guys, and that sounds like a very deep, serious sort of name. How did you decide on that?
Yeah, the name originally just stems from our lyricism and how we sing about grief, suffering, and hope, and but while still having the belief that there's something worth holding on to. So I would say that the purpose of the band is to bring light and love into places where hope feels buried. So it definitely stems from like our sad, melancholy lyrics, and that's kind of where the idea kind of stemmed from.
Yeah.
We have to be artsy. I'm sorry. We have to be artsy by adding that comma and the period. So
well,
of
course.
Yeah. Derek has written about 98% of the lyrics, if not all of them. I'll occasionally write like 2 lines or something in an album, but So I was gonna say the name and the lyricism 100% is Derek's mastermind here.
Yep.
Well, so as an English major in college, who's a big fan of the Oxford comma, I think we need more commas. So I'm very happy to add a comma in there.
We're here to advocate for more commas.
More commas. Every band name. Apparently, that is. We were told on another podcast that's become a joke in some of their banter that these guys are in. He said he's in like a group chat of like 20 people, and anytime that there's a 4-word sentence. They'll put it with a comma and a period.
So, our group chat has been like that too.
Obviously. A little honored.
It's whatever the joke of the time is. It's something, comma, period.
Yeah.
Well, you don't want a name that's too long that people don't remember. So obviously they remember it well enough.
Yeah,
and they have that in there.
I feel like for the future of this band, and when people start to learn more about us, they're going, because they already abbreviate it by themselves. They always say we're going to the So Much Hope show. You know, they don't even say buried.
Yeah,
So Much Hope is caught on. Yeah.
And I don't know if that's a band name already, but
sorry.
I mean, it might. I don't know. I don't think it's ever gonna change, but it's gonna kind of come natural.
Or the acronym, the SMHB.
The SMHB.
Yeah, we see that.
Well, the first local band that I ever got into was Felix Sarko's Polar Power Manifesto Magnet Supernova.
Wow.
Let's go.
Wow. All right.
So that
supercalifragilistic.
They went by Felix Sarko real fast.
Yeah.
I think it was maybe 1 or 2 shows where they actually used the full name. They didn't even put it on the album cover. They're just it's just Felix Sarko.
Something that you don't remember the full name, but you can't forget it at the same time.
Right. That's why
something about it just works.
Still in here somewhere. So with the first album, I'd be lying to say I'm Not Weak, which came out in 2024. That kind of solidified this project as this is the thing that we're going to be doing going forward. We're going to invest the time and the energy and the effort into this. This
Absolutely.
is the thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Definitely.
I think when I'd Be Lying came out, I was still in Toothless, right? And I was still putting effort towards there. I think it was when, I don't know, everything's a gray blur now at that. But, yeah, I don't know. I think the chemistry of the band just started getting so good and so tight that it really just started becoming this main thing. And we were just so happy with how things were moving along that we wanted to just like keep heart, seeing that flourish and keep watering that garden basically and seeing what happened. And now I'm, I think we're all very happy with the current state of
absolutely.
So much hope.
I think life circumstance around that time definitely dictated like how we felt about it as well too.
Oh yeah,
Because I was just 24, so I was gonna say, Eric and I both had both of our sons at that point in time, and we had a lot of.
we were making the record with our children.
Yeah,
because there's footage. There's a documentary on YouTube that you can find where, like, I'm holding my baby as I'm working on either it wasn't mixing, but like tracking stuff, or my wife was holding Elliot and helping like kind of engineer the session because I was playing drums in the other room.
Right.
So there was a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of like
I think major life events occurring around that time just kind of brought in the conversation of like, hey, we got to be doing this for a reason. Like, cause like, look how we're doing this right now. It's like we have to surpass the conversation of like, is this just for fun? Like, because this is becoming stressful making this, so there has to be a larger purpose. Sure. And so I think that was when we had that type of conversation.
Yeah, and everybody in the band loves making music. It's a huge passion. Like without a doubt, there's so much genuine and authenticity into like creating the music, but still, that conversation came up where it's like, we've got kids now, we're married, we've got houses and responsibilities, and I just had my second child, and it's very much like this band needs to be progressing towards a career,
right?
And we really want that. And we're really fighting for that. And we're really trying to think of this as like, okay, let's put all the authenticity, genuineness into creating the record, but then once that's done, move over to the business side. So I think a lot of people have like misconstrued thoughts that to make it as a successful band, it needs to be so business forward that your creative decisions are based off of business. And I don't necessarily believe that to be true.
No, I think,
we create our music because we love.
We're definitely an art first type of band.
Yeah,
art first, but then we
package it
when we enter business into the conversation, it becomes just as serious. But at this point in which the art is already done,
right?
So it's
Little tangent.
No, not at all. It's actually something we'll be talking about in a little bit. But I wanted to mention you guys recorded this and the new album at Novro Studios, which is your studio there. Could you tell us maybe a little bit of background there, like how you got into building and running your own studio?
Yeah, absolutely. Man, when I was like 13 or so, my father bought me this little Zoom recorder. Zoom is the company, and it was an 8-channel, and it recorded to the hard drive, but then burned directly to a disc. That's how you got your music. And I just wanted it because at the time I was in a band, and I was like, we're gonna write music, and we're gonna record it, and then nobody knew what we were doing with recording or how to do anything. So, I sort of mentioned to my dad, like, I want to make a band and make some songs. So he got this thing for me, and I absolutely fell in love with that side of things. And my brain really works off the techie side of things. I just love thinking about that. I love problem solving, I think. And a lot of what I do is just problem solving. It's so you record something, you listen to it, and you go, what is bad about this? And what can be better about this? Where EQ and compression, whatever, all the jargon comes in. Yeah. It's basically just fixing a problem. Because if you listen to something and you're like, yo, that sounds great, okay, don't touch it. There's there's nothing to be done with it. So I really fell in love with that. I fell in love with the process of it. And ever since then, my first recording was me and a friend recording a cover of Hound Dog. And it was awful. and I still have it.
Nice.
I made sure that every time like I got hard drives or computers or whatever, I brought that hound dog cover over. And yeah, it's atrocious. It sounds abysmal. Just everything about it was so bad. But it's like it's a really cool thing to kind of go back and like listen to.
Right.
So yeah, I fell in love with it, and it wasn't until I was about 24 that I determined I wanted this to be a career. I did it for a while. I had jobs. I did the band thing for a little bit. I mean, obviously, I'm still doing the band thing, but you know, it was that there was a lot of self-doubt, and like, you know, I live in Kingston. You know, how many people do you know who can make a living off of record producing in Kingston? And that was a big, like, you know, always beating on me, just like, well, dude, if you want to do this, you have to move to Nashville, you have to go to New York, you have to go to Tennessee, you got to do this stuff. No one in Kingston is going to do this and be able to make this. So there was a lot of that until one day, I think I just got so fed up with that thought process and mentality that I was like, no. It is absolutely possible if you want it to be possible. It might be different. It might look different. It might be different challenges than somebody in Nashville, but I don't care. I want this outcome, therefore I will fight for that outcome no matter what. And I mean, that took a long time. And even when I was newly married and for a couple of years, I still worked out of my parents' house. And, you know, by the grace of God, I have a studio behind my house. It's completely separated. I do this full time. And yeah, it's just like that unrelenting positivity that you tell yourself. You say like, I'm going to do this. This will happen. Nothing is going to stop me from doing this. So then tying that into the band, we ended up doing our first single just very quickly. It was a little scrappy, but we did it quickly because we wanted to get something out because the band rebranded. Then we went off to a studio in Lancaster called Atrium Audio to work with Carson and Grant on the next single. That was called Apparition. That was cool. All with the intention that we were going to come back to me to do the album. So then I'd Be Lying shows up. We do the record. That was great. We do the next single, Evanescent. With those two projects, with Evanescent and I'd Be Lying done, I was kind of feeling the stress of having to do the engineering and the drumming at the same time and not being happy with certain outcomes just because I wasn't able to monitor and play at the same time. So we decided this time around, well, what if we go to a different studio to track drums? So we went to the Foundry in Bethlehem, PA, and it's this gorgeous, oh my gosh, beautiful, studio. Got a good friend of mine, Justin Mitchell, to engineer the session. So I was able to walk into that room, just play drums. That was dope. Cherry on top, they have a grand piano. Cool. so we ended up finishing the drums pretty quick, and we were like, let's track the piano. Let's do it. So we tracked the grand piano. We ended up using that on the Grow side of the album. So on the Wither side of the album, we needed something a lot harder, definitely not as dark. It needed to really punch through. It needed to be bright, because it's definitely, Wither is definitely more, I'll say melodramatic, like dark rock, a lot of punchy parts.
Rock centric versus
that
like
really
softer.
needed to fit.
Yeah.
And the piano that they had at the Foundry is absolutely gorgeous, but it's a Steinway. It was a little on the darker sound, but that fit really well for the vibe of Grow. Didn't quite fit with Wither, so we ended up using two different pianos. Honestly, I don't even think you could really tell too much because I do think it blends really nicely in the album. So we were able to do that, and then we took everything back to my studio and finished off the guitars, the bass, the vocals, all the other stuff. And especially with this record, we tried to think, what can we replicate on stage? And that's sort of been the ethos with the band now. So there is really not much, a couple little things, but not much in both of our records that is not replicated live. There is a guitar solo in this album, that there is a rhythm guitar underneath. it's not happening live. The guitar solo's happening. So yeah, there's like a couple moments like that, but we really try to be as like authentic as possible. That when you listen to the record, you can go see us live and say like, "Yep, that's it."
Spot on.
You know, there's no computers with our set. There's no backing tracks. There's no click track. Mostly because I'm not dealing with it. I'm not doing it. I don't want to mess with a computer. I want none of that. I have my computer next to me because we use a little IEM rig, and I can monitor, or we monitor each other, and then I can record off of that. But I am not messing around with click tracks and backtracks. That's just not kind of the ethos of the band at the moment.
Right.
But yeah, I fell in love with recording, and I was like, I've got to do this. And if you know, I'm always going to stronghold this band into like, I'm gonna do the LPs. I don't mind, you know, going out a single here, single there, but this has become such a, or not even, it was a passion project, but it's such a passion project that I'm not willing to let that go. Like this is,
and like a big part of it too is just like we've come to learn how much of our fan base has an appreciation for that. Like, a lot of the time you'll like that's a part of the, I guess, like the lore of the band that people appreciate, because they're just like, I like the music, I like the band, I like the sounds, and they do the music, like the drummer does the music, so it's like it's another selling point, honestly. Yeah, so it's there's no downsides to
even
it.
if it wasn't even if it wasn't a selling point, I just love this too much that I wouldn't be willing to give up the LPs. So I will always be doing our records until I'm dead.
So with this new one, I was doing a little research, and a reviewer mentioned it's kind of like a concept album sort of idea. There's kind of a story running throughout that. Yeah. Before we really dive into that, could you maybe kind of give a little overview of that story, or you know how that kind of concept came about?
Of course. Yeah, kind of reiterate a little bit on what Eric was saying is that like when we first came back with our new sound, we had a song called Dissolve. That was about 3 years ago or 3.5 years ago. Right. And that song at the time was called Wither Grow before we released it. Eric thought of this brilliant idea to create sort of a concept record off of Wither Grow, but we didn't know what it was going to be about. We just thought that was a really cool name.
Yeah, we banked it for years.
Yeah. So we changed the song to Dissolve, evidently, and we I don't remember if we were in the midst of I'd Be Lying at the time, but but we finally, this came to fruition, and it's incredible. So so at the time when we were toying with the idea, it came from like a place where the album dynamically would be a concept. That's all we had. So so in the beginning of the record, it's definitely it's dark, and then as you go through the record, it gets darker and darker until the middle something changes, and then Grow side would be more not happy but like reassuring, growing, reassuring, lots of like contentment and hope and light. So that's where it originated. So like dynamically, the music is kind of telling a story without really.
Right.
It was supposed to be a curve. It was supposed to start here, get all the way down to the middle of the record, and then come back up. So if you listen to Fever Bloom, it's not insanely dark. You know, it still kind of fits our vibe. But then Falter gets down a little, and then Spare Another Day gets a little heavier. And I don't want to say heavier in the way of like genre, but just like weighty.
Yeah. I was gonna say we have like a curve off of like emotional depth, and that's interesting.
Yeah. And then Drowning is like super weighty, like to the point where, you know, when Derek gets into the story part of it, Respite is that turnaround. And then, you know, you listen to Lament, Paper Thin, it just like kind of like steadily goes up, and then Forever and Echo really ends on like the most positive that this band has ever sounded, I think. But yeah, go ahead and get into
so like dynamically we kind of figured that out, and then when it comes to the storyline, I know that changed a lot, but together we came up with an idea of where we have a character in this story who finds out that he's terminally ill, and then goes through those like 5 stages of grief and kind of going through that, but in a more unique way. And then halfway through the record, after Drowning in the Dark, the character dies. and then respite would be, you know, that calm after something horrible. And then the character spiritually awakens into this other world, and well, in the same world, but like in the afterlife, and starts to reflect on everything that he went through, and starts to learn throughout the next couple songs that there was there was meaning in that suffering that he was going through. So that's the foundation of the album, where the character kind of like, and the one part we have a song called Heaven Knows, and that's the character observing his own funeral, and you know what I mean. So like we've tried to be very descriptive and poetic, and kind of paint a picture to where we could make these music videos that we're doing, that Sarah is killing it, and kind of show this storyline in a different way in the music videos, because we have to make that work. So like in the music videos, it's going through the eyes of the character who's passing away, and then also his loved one that is taking care of him, and kind of going through that. So there's a lot of symbolism, there's a lot of metaphors, there's a lot of, you know, storytelling going on.
So speaking of which, we do kind of a little segment on the show, if you guys would like to participate, called The Breakdown, where we go track by track on an artist's latest release to hear the inspirations and stories behind each song. So this can be about the lyrics, the composition, the recording, the meaning behind it, whatever you think is the most fun or interesting aspect for you personally about that song. So you guys want to do it?
Let's do it.
Sure. Let's give it a shot.
This will be great.
So your second full-length album, Wither Grow, was released on June 12th. It's available now on all major streaming platforms, as well as CD and vinyl, which we're going to talk about as well. You've seen that in front of you right there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right, so the first track is Fever Bloom. What can you tell us about that?
I do know that Andrew and Gavin have a really great storyline.
I love
with
the
this.
I love
and I know they want to tell it.
That's the first thing I thought about.
The same here. So Gavin and I live roughly an hour away from Derek and Eric, so we carpool together to practice. There was an instance where in our cloud storage, we have just demo files from like whoever wants to throw them in there. We were listening through mine and Derek's. We were just like going through them. So Derek and I have them, our demos numerically just ordered, just cause. So we're just listening through all of them. Somehow we landed on, I think it was Derek's demo number 7, and it was my demo number 11. You see where I'm going? So like he only had a vocal and I only had a guitar rhythm thing. And we're just like, we look at each other and we're like, what would happen if we fuse those together? And so we literally
got a gas station.
We walk into the studio and we're just like, yo, like we listen to these two together, and we created the song, like at least the chorus that night. And I love the fact that the demo was called 7-Eleven.
Oh yeah.
Love that.
There was also in a part of the album where we were just trying to figure out how to complete certain parts. So we were looking for the finishing piece to Wither. And well, maybe not the finishing piece, but we were getting to that point. So we were just like scouring for what would work.
Yeah,
and
it came a little bit out of like desperation, because this is one of the last songs written for the record.
We needed the first track on the album, and obviously that's a pretty big part to fill. You know, you need to figure out what is going to introduce this storyline, and that
and his drums.
And his
We let you do that.
But with that, that's, if you watch these when the music videos. So we've got 1, 2. How many music videos do we have out? 3.
4.
We have 4 music videos out. Right. So they're all labeled chapter. So Fever Bloom is chapter 1. Falters chapter 2. So on and so forth. So when you watch chapter 1, you can tell that it's very Fever Dream-esque. And it's just kind of like, I'll say artsy-fartsy, sort of like what is going on in here. That's really the character's introduction into, or the 2 characters' introduction. That's our actors' names are John and Rebecca. So John and Becca, we show them. We kind of give like little foreshadowing things in there that I'm not going to give away.
Right.
But there's foreshadowing things in there. And then at the end of Fever Bloom, it transitions into Falter, which is the actual like real world. Rebecca is taking care of John in his terminal illness. So it starts to get a little more grounded in reality, where Fever Bloom is a little more
Nostalgic.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you know, like kind of spacey, weird.
You
sort of
also just put into my brain, and before it leaves, Fever Bloom has now taken the cake for the coldest music video
Oh,
shoot.
dude. I was gonna say.
Yeah.
When you were talking about that, yeah.
Fever Bloom
yeah.
sucked.
On our first record, we had a song called "Vacant Home," and I thought it couldn't get any colder than that. I
Because
was,
you shot an actual vacant home.
yeah, we were
Yeah.
out in Hallmarks.
It was December, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Hallmarks
yeah, like
somewhere
Shikshi and then
there,
that area, and we were
Yeah.
in a vacant home, and it was the middle of the winter, and we're like, all right, guys, take your coats off.
It was January.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
No, I just remember holding a key light while Sarah's recording Eric trying to play the drums.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the key light falls
Like, keep
on
in
me.
mind, we shot
It's
this in
so
like,
windy, and I was like,
did we shoot
is
this
the
in like
worst.
February or something?
It
No.
was like December.
No, it was right before the first snowstorm.
Yeah.
So literally, we
yeah.
scheduled the day, we shot that music video, and then the very next day we got like 6 inches of snow. So it was cold.
It was windy.
Yes,
That was
if it
cold.
gets any colder than this, I might die during the music video shooting, just to let you know.
So
Yeah.
it's so bad. Poor John and Rebecca too. They have gone through so much to even create these, and we're still not done.
Well, I mean, it definitely makes it look better that we were kind of suffering.
Yeah.
Because this is just the beginning of
That's the
suffering.
symbolism of it.
Yeah.
You can just
We were very intentional.
Yeah. Sarah's like, we need to shoot in 32.
watching that back, like we're actually almost dead. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah. So that that's kind of
Yeah,
just
it's
a
like-
Fever Bloom.
It's like that fever that is that illness that is blooming inside that just bloomed. I love that name. I love that song title.
It's a great name. It's a
Yeah,
cool
that's
name.
That's one of
You
one
know
of my
what? That
favorite
should be
songs.
our band name now.
All right.
Nah, there's not enough commas and periods in there.
That's true.
So much fever. Common
Come
Bloom.
Bloom, yeah.
With like the umlauts on the O's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Don't ever.
It's blummed.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'm kidding. I don't know what a name was.
Okay. So then.
That's what I got on Fever Bloom. Can't think
Yeah.
of anything else there.
Yeah. So then
No.
leads us to Falter, which go ahead and lyrically first.
Yeah. So Falter is the main, like the heart of the record for me when it comes to, like, the lyrics, because there's a lyric in there that is, it goes, "Light a fire in my heart and I'll burn for you tonight." And I got that lyric just skimming Bible verses, because I do that sometimes. It definitely inspires me and it gets me, to be very poetic with my lyricism. But yeah, light a fire in my heart and I'll burn for you tonight. That's the lyric that, like,
That sums
That
up
was
the
the
record.
catalyst
Sums
of
up
the-
the
Yeah,
whole
that kind of
record.
sums up the album.
Yeah.
symbolically, like, so it's this, I stumbled on a Bible verse from Jeremiah 20 verse 9, and it just says that that he has this fire in his heart that is burning and consuming him, and he's weary of holding it in. Indeed, he could not. So it's this idea where the character in our story is suffering, but that suffering is disguised as devotion to God, basically. So it gets a little religious, but I'm not trying to be like in your face about it. I'm trying to be very vague, and anyone can kind of interpret it differently. But that's where the core idea is where, like, the character dies and then realizes it wasn't a horrible thing. I mean, it probably was what he was going through, but he realizes that it all happened for a reason. It was his devotion to find God and to hear His word.
Yeah. A big thing that we touched on before was Gavin entering the band. You were gonna go there, yeah. Gavin entering the band this was kind of Falter essentially was Gavin's offering, This is one of those songs where Gavin just handed us 100% of the song essentially, and the demo was called Gavinicity for the longest time. There was, like Eric said before, this was one of those things where like there was very minimal changes. I remember the beginning, like, since like Gavin doesn't play keys, there was like a guitar intro, and we're like, So, listen here, we're a piano focused band.
Listen here, buddy.
Well, so I remember that being like the only, and we maybe changed the keys a couple times.
There's a structure.
Yeah.
There's like a little structure change. But
The big thing was that I can't write keys at all. Like, I don't know what to do with it. So I decided, like, I'm just going to, like, kind of play pretend and, you know, insert guitar in a clean tone to like, assume piano. But it was like, we had just started throwing songs into the ether. Well, Andrew definitely. So, like, Andrew wrote a song that didn't end up making it into the record. And I remember seeing that, like, influenced by it, and I was like, okay, I'm getting, like, the understanding of, like, you know, maybe what direction to go here. I don't know if I ever mentioned that either.
No,
It's live on air.
It was definitely live on air. I know. What Andrew was throwing in was, like, really inspiring me, so I was like, okay, I'll, you know, give some a try, and, you know, just kind of, you know, realize what belongs and whatever, and everybody seemed to like it, so.
Yeah, I remember you offered it up, and Gavin, and I say this kindly, has huge imposter syndrome. He's unreal of a musician and an incredible writer, but doesn't think that he's good at either. So he's like, whatever, I don't, just like take the song, I don't even care, it probably sucks. And I remember listening to it and being like, what the heck? I was like, this is so good. So I was like, hey, enough of that and keep writing. Enough of that imposter syndrome crap. Keep writing because this is gold. So Falter really, like, it came together so easy because you had so much of it done.
Right.
But that, like I said before, it was like, you know, there's so much hopifying, you know, it's always so funny how Andrew had said everybody's got their own influences, like, that they brought from home. And the entire collaboration of this, like, Falters, it's definitely, like, it's so much more unique now that everybody's got, like, their touch on it. I remember Derek, like, right away was like, this is the chorus, like, immediately he started, he was like singing the chorus over top of it. Like,
we absolutely changed the key of this one.
We changed the key to this song because it was, like, extremely high vocally for me, and I can, if you want, I can show you the voice memo later on. But you're gonna be, like, cringing because it's so high, and it was horrible. I might have even been sick that day.
Maybe.
But, like,
it took some convincing because Derek was committed to this.
like,
he was like, I want to reach this highest note in my range. And I remember we, like, looked at him and we were like, you want to do that every time we play this song?
And I was afraid that changing the key would change the emotion of it. And I still thank the Lord every day that we changed it. Because now, like,
you listen back and you're like, hey guys, thank you.
But like, the majority of the record, I always, like, I'm very cautious because when I'm listening, I'm like, wow, I don't know why I went that high with why did I do that? And I constantly say that, why am I doing this? But we just played the record through twice yesterday, and my voice feels fine. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that was something intentional too, where we didn't want to have to pick where songs go in the set because of, like, a vocal thing. Like, I know some people are like, oh, we got to do that song first when I'm strong. Yeah. It's like, well, you know, if that works for you, cool. But we wanted to be like, well, wherever it is in the set, you're just going to do it. Because it's not pushing insanely high.
Make more sense artistically.
Yeah. And then we have that flexibility. Also, Fever Bloom, Falter, and the next track, Spare Another Day, are all in the same key.
Yeah.
Which was really intentional, too, because we ended up writing Spare Another Day. We had Falter and Spare Another Day together. Then we ended up writing Fever Bloom, and we were like, oh, Fever Bloom and Spare in the same key. Why doesn't Falter just knock down that key too? And that also came from a little technical standpoint too, because Andrew and Gavin use pitch shifting instead of tuning, because it takes forever. Right. You know, if you're trying to tune, and then Andrew uses an Evertune, and you know, you're not really changing tunings on an Evertune. So Andrew's like, well, I wouldn't have to dance around on the pedal board at all. Right. I just play. It's all in the same key.
Yeah.
So that really worked out super well. And then I think that also conceptually gave Drowning that weighty feel that we really wanted out of it, because that's supposed to be the song where our character is like the act of dying. So we're like, this one, I remember when we were writing that one, we were like, this one needs to be heavy, and not in the way of like, yeah, metal heavy, in the way of like, oh, gut-wrenching weight heavy. So utilizing those pitch shifting capabilities that we have, it's like, well, let's just drop this 2 more steps down.
Yeah.
So it sounds like, oh, like it just like sits in your gut. So that was actually like a super intentional thing. So it's like, okay, it's like, it's gloomy, it's getting there, and then boom, it like hits you with that like really low.
I was gonna say we have to touch on Spare Another Day before
We
we
do,
get to
yeah,
Drowning.
sorry.
Yeah.
I'll wait. Till we get to
Yeah, but
Do we have anything left on Falter
Yeah, I don't.
before
I
we
don't
get
think
there?
so.
I think
Yeah, the music video is pretty on the nose with that one. It's Rebecca taking care of John and the struggle between him dying and her having to deal with that. So that one's very on the nose. I know nothing about Spare. I can't remember a single thing.
I have a
about that.
few things
Oh,
in my
dude.
brain, but I feel like you might. Have
Yeah.
more
Well, no,
than I
it's
do.
I remember how that
There's
came
another
together.
me
I
and
really
you.
do.
Yeah, we had a lot of conversations back and forth. This was
big shoegaze conversation.
Yeah.
It was a big, it was,
Yeah.
there was like a shoegazy vibe that we were going for with this in particular that we didn't this is one of those new territories that we tried to reach into. I remember that because Gavin and I were having like big conversations. First of all, the big thing in my brain is looking at the track order of the record. I don't know if this was the first, but this is definitely the first in numerical order where we definitely were all in a room together creating this song.
Dude.
Yeah.
Like
I was
this
gonna
was like
say.
no one pitched anything. This
Nope.
was like,
We just
hey
did
guys,
it.
like this is like a writing rehearsal kind of day.
Yeah.
Let's do something.
There's like very
Yeah.
few songs that kind of bloom that way, and this was one of them. I think Fever Bloom was also like that, where like it just came organically in the studio, and we just kind of, because I was riffing on that in the bridge of the song. There's this left hand rhythmic thing that I'm doing on the piano, and then I add this sprinkle in these
Dun, dun.
what's the word?
Octaves.
They're not octaves. They're
Embellishments.
like a not tritone, but they're like a
Triads.
two tone.
Triad.
Where not two tone, that would be horrible. But like I add those, I kind of sprinkle down the keys, and it creates this really like waterfall effect in a way. And I was obsessed with that. I was like, we're doing something with this, you know. So I was very happy that we kind of kept that, but it did feel a little happy at the time.
Spare did?
Yeah, with that piano thing I wrote.
Yeah,
It felt very
I think
happy.
in your world,
but when you added your
the
guitar,
contrast
like,
of what we're doing, because what Derek is doing is sounds really happy, and what we're doing
and
sounds
the lyrics
really.
are just gut wrenching.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
From like a guitar and bass point of view, I just remember this is probably, maybe not for you, but definitely for me, this is the easiest song.
Oh, dude.
play,
Yeah. I
Not
mean,
for me.
So this is one of those things, like I said, like I knew, my brain instantly went to this was created in the room because this entire song is 2 chords. The whole way, back and forth.
Yeah,
the whole thing.
I
and
intentionally-
it's a 5-minute long song. So,
we intentionally added more to it because it was like, it was very.
yeah.
That's kind of what happens, though. It's like someone usually takes a little bit of a backseat as somebody else is ripping. So like,
Yeah.
I don't. My drum parts are pretty intense on that.
They
song.
are.
Yeah, and that was the
Yeah.
big thing is like we're just kind of letting the drums be the more intricate thing here.
And then the
Yeah.
piano on top of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
So
we're
it's
just
like
kind of
you guys
holding the
were
foundation.
holding down this more simplicity
Yeah.
thing. So Derek and I had room to be a little more complex.
Because I remember we had like this, Gavin and I had this conversation of like, oh, we like how much it like drones. I just remember so much, you and I going back and forth on Deftones a lot.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
Yeah, quite a
like
bit.
yeah, of like, oh, this is kind of cool and feels like something in that world of like, oh, we're just gonna kind of ride these out and just gonna let this weird like shoegazy
Yeah, we were listening to stuff
dreamy
like that
thing go.
beforehand, and it kind of like slipped influence into a practice session and turned into that
Yeah.
naturally. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, so like live in the room is the big thing that pops in my head with that one.
Yeah, I'm really excited to play this one live because, like, for me personally, I might be the only one who's like obsessed with this song in the band. I'm sure you guys love it, but this is the one that like gets me emotional when I listen to it, just like at home. Like I'm just like, what the? I can't believe we wrote this. This is sick. so especially that final chorus, that last moment, like with Eric, doing some crazy things on the drums is. It blows my mind every time I hear it, and it's very emotional. And the lyrics kind of tell the story that like he's just praying. He just wants another day, and he wants to live at least another day to do what he can. And it's that moment of intense despair from this character in it. And unfortunately I had to put myself in the mindset of somebody who was just about to die. And the thing is with this record is that every time I send like a music video to somebody, and I have to be very cautious because there's very touchy subjects with this, and I don't realize it until my wife telling me that she showed it to her coworker and she just went through something similar and it made her cry, and I'm just like, oh no, like I didn't even think about this, like my table. Sorry. My mind just kind of goes other places, but yeah, that's. But
It's like a vine or something.
Yeah. I had to process it. Wow.
What's happening? But yeah, no. Honestly, I now that the record's been out for a while and there's people kind of like confiding in what their personal life stories are, and I just kind of wrote a concept record, like a storyline. It was really hard to put myself into the lyrics, and this song particularly was hard on me. Like I was like I felt the emotional chaos of what the character was going through, and I was like, this is not healthy, I need to stop. And that was one of the last songs I think lyrically I did. I think so. Well, on the Wither side, because Grow is more uplifting. So yeah.
Absolutely. Track 4. Drowning in the Dark.
Track 4, Chan.
I just want to say, track 4. I just want to say when Drowning was first being, I think it was between you two.
Yeah, I kind of like look at Drowning more as like a little bit of my baby, a little bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like Andrew, like
I started that, didn't we?
Yeah, you guys. Started
Yeah, I have a cool story because like I remember where the guitar, like the rhythmic, like the musical parts of it came from. And then I just kind of brought that over. I was jamming on the acoustic guitar for a little bit, and then you and I were together one day, and we really like fleshed the full band version of it.
Yeah.
Because I remember very distinctly, I remember
like I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I remember like not being at practice or something like that. I don't remember what happened.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to be there, and I came, and you guys had a whole song already done.
Same. So I remember hearing this on the back end and being like, wow.
Yeah.
This is heavy.
Yeah.
Like you're saying about density and stuff like that, but
I
remember you had said that you were like working on it.
I had this riff. I loved what it became because I had this riff that was inspired by a pop artist called Leve, and she's a bossa nova guitar player.
Oh.
So like the original, so the guitar player, well the guitar part, we have a song in our first record called Idle Hands, that like for the musicality of it. It's written in a harmonic minor, so it kind of sounds kind of classically. I always say classically evil. I always reference Disney villain for some reason. That's where my brain goes. So I was just like, okay, like I remember there was an idea of wanting to do that again. So I just played this 2-chord thing, but it was like this weird bossa nova feel, and I'm like, we're weird enough, we can do that. So obviously we haven't stumbled rhythmically on that territory yet, but the riff stuck, and I brought the riff over, and it was just me and Eric, and we kind of fleshed out the whole thing.
My favorite memory of this is we wrote the chorus, and then Andrew was like, I have this idea. Let's put the chorus in 5/4. And I said, absolutely not.
Yes.
I remember that.
Yeah, I remember that.
I said, there's no way that I'm putting a chorus in 5/4. Go away. And then, I mean,
It's not often that I pitch something like that.
No, it isn't, but
Me and Andrew fought for it.
no, and I was like, I said, you can have a bridge.
Yeah.
So we ended up putting the bridge, and it's like, obviously that comes from a joke, but really where it stems from is my personal taste is I don't usually love odd time signature stuff that doesn't like, I don't know, it doesn't really do much for me. I can play it and I understand it, but I never really liked it too much. So I'm not like the biggest fan of like, you know, proggy kind of stuff. Not that I don't appreciate it, but you know, it's just not really my cup of tea. So when I heard the chorus, I was like, I love this chorus. And when he pitched it in an odd time, I was like, you will not take this from me.
I hate this chorus.
I was like, you will not take this from me. But then he was like, well, I have this idea. And he played the riff that ended up becoming the bridge that is in 5.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, that's cool. Just please not for the chorus. I said, I need my hook. I need the thing that like, you know, I don't know, like that's just my brain and the way that I like.
Absolutely.
So I was like, I said, can we please do this for the bridge?
Yeah.
We did it for the bridge, and I think what's cool about it is it does seamlessly transition from 5 to 3 again, because the song is mostly in 3, goes to 5 for that moment, and then goes back to 3, and it works really well, and that's what I like about the odd time signature. We have a couple odd time signatures in the record, but what I like about them is it doesn't feel odd.
Right.
There's like, you know, and it's usually
It intentionally
like,
made that part more like chaotic, and which is what we were going for.
it
worked
needed
with
to
the
be, 'cause it was
storyline.
it worked with like the curve and what we were trying to do.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my story about that one where I was like, heck no.
Yeah.
I was like, this will not be in play.
When writing this one for me, like melody wise, I was I thought the chord progressions were really interesting and like gloomy and moody Disney villain. and I thought that was kind of fun because it felt unique, like different for me. Like unlike Idle Hands, I thought this one with the melody was very unique, and that's kind of where that came. Like when I heard that, and then I really struggled with the chorus. So when I write a chorus and I'm like, I don't really feel like this is not really feeling what I want to do with it, I start to really kind of panic in a way, even though I shouldn't have to panic. But like at the time, like when I wrote it, I was like, this is not it. And then every time I would try to write something new, I would keep on hearing that last one that I did. Yeah. And it was like, nothing's going to work. This is going to be bad. So that's when I go to these guys and they help me write a chorus chorus. Gavin's really good at that. And obviously Andrew is too, and I think you are really good at. I'm just trying to make you all feel good without offending anyone.
Participation.
I know. I'm just gonna be like, I felt you staring at me. I'm just like, no.
Say something nice, jerk.
I'm the hook machine.
But luckily, the chorus, you know.
I remember thinking 3 Days Grace. Somebody said that somewhere. I don't know if it was Gavin or Andrew. Somebody said something about kind of like 3 Days Grace.
Yeah, maybe.
That's where you guys kind of popped out that chorus.
No, I just want to go back to like, again, everybody has like their own influence, you know, come from outside of the band and everything. And Andrew's kind of famously like, he's not a metal guy. You know what I mean?
No.
So again, I just want to reiterate when they came out with this and I was hearing it for the first time, like Andrew's like the mastermind behind it, I was like, where? Like holy crap! Like legit, like I was like, this is heavy. Like it's cool. Like, and he's always able to make some like crazy spin, like the bossa nova stuff is like, it's such a dark themed and like Eric said, it's density like, to everything.
I think that like it's kind of Eric and my brain working together.
Yeah.
Because like I'll look at things from like a musicality point of view, and then you could take it tonally and make it make it heavy. Because I that's just not my strong point.
I definitely do like the rhythmic. Obviously, as the drummer, the dynamics are heavily dictated by me and what I decide to do.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of times when we're writing together, I'll kind of sort of steer the ship because it usually starts foundationally with the rhythm.
Yeah. True.
And then I'm like, hey, this is really cool dynamically and rhythmically. You guys figure out the melodies on top of this.
Right.
And, you know,
And we've and like Eric and I have done writing for other artists in the past, and I think we've just learned.
Oh yeah.
We've learned our places to when working with each other. So in this is one of those instances where I always say that I'm the big picture kind of guy, and then he's like he goes in fine details everything.
Yeah.
Because I'm just slopping something on the table, and then and then he's just taking it and turning it into something. Yeah.
So that's drowning.
Yeah.
And and then lyrically, that's I guess like the representation of death.
Yeah. Yep.
That's
So-
yeah.
And then, so that's like the worst in terms of darkest, the worst of it. But then respite comes, and that's sort of the calm after the worst.
Yeah, that's like the transition piece. And I remember.
This was written really early on.
Yeah,
Very early on.
I just
I
really
remember
wanted.
this was one of those instances where I did not know this word, and I kept calling it respite in my brain for the longest
That's
time.
only if you were in the UK.
Longest time.
If you're British, you would say respite.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
Right.
But it would be
UK
incorrect.
exclusive, right?
It would be incorrect. But yeah, it's like I remember like I really wanted something that is coming from very heavy, very like beat down in a way to something like extremely like cuts off to just quietness and like space, like liminal sound. And I actually kind of remember Andrew saying something like I don't remember, but I remember you giving me like sparking sort of an idea to do just a piano piece.
Yeah,
Oh
I think when I remember hearing this, and like my brain
I was kind of
just
nervous.
Like, I
to,
was
like,
kind of
bring it to you
like,
guys.
no, this should be first. I remember that in my brain because I was just like, we're the piano band.
And
Why don't we put out the piano song?
yes, and I remember I wrote
Yeah.
Lament
it made sense.
before
Yeah.
this song,
Yes, you did.
and I already knew what key Lament was going to be in because I wrote that song. We can get to that later, but with Respite, I tried my best to transition from Drowning in the Dark to Lament and find a way to change, like modulate to Lament without making it like, you know, because I mean that's what a piano player, you know, just improvising does is like you try to find that sweet spot to key change to the next song.
I just remember my brain and the conversation around like this could be like really defining for the band, even though it's just this minute-long piano piece. Because so much of the time, especially in the bands in the heavier genre, they won't have a piano player, or they'll just have like a piano track or something like that. And this was that like, no, we have a piano player.
Yeah.
I remember like those talks of like, hey, like, no, this is the real deal. This is a man sitting behind a piano playing a beautiful piece of music, and I feel like that should be symbolism for what the band even is.
And
Yeah.
I remember first hearing this after we had already, come up with the concept of how the record was going to go. And Respite, I feel like still amazingly just kind of, you can listen to Respite in context of not hearing anything in the record and kind of know how it goes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It has that, that up and that down and the tension and the resolve, all in one small piano piece. So, I mean, obviously we put this out first, and hopefully people picked up on that. But if not, it's evident now. But
Right.
and I also remember hearing the recording that you did just on your phone,
Yeah.
and I told Andrew because we were listening to it in the car as we
We
often
do. Yeah.
and I was like, man, I really hope we can portray this as, somebody just being in this environment and it being kind of, nonchalant, I guess. Like there's atmosphere to it. There's weird atmospheric, like just the atmosphere of the room happening with the piano, because it's
Right.
just, I don't know. There's
Yeah.
something,
I think that was the
Channels.
third take that we did at the studio. It was like,
Yep.
I tried
We
it
didn't
once,
do
I
many.
messed up, and then I tried it again. I was like,
Yeah. Keep in mind, we have yet to play a lot of these songs live, including this one, and we have been training Derek because we've been going through the record to practice because we're going to play it in full, and obviously
I'm just trying to mind my own business.
we all stop when he starts this one, so we do everything we can to distract him while he's playing.
Yeah.
The amount of lights that have been shined in his eyes.
I'm just
we throw things at him.
Yeah.
Talking, banter.
Andrew does like blast beats and like Andrew was talking.
Yeah, I'm the one shining the light in his eyes. Yeah.
Well, there's always some guy in the crowd who's
That's
like,
what I said. I think I remember
guy.
I threw like a can at him and I'm like, Derek, it's gonna happen.
It might have been, and the reason why I say that because it might have been Andrew who was doing the blast beats
beats.
because I wasn't looking up for the piano. I was like, I'm not gonna pay attention to these guys, these jerks.
So we've been testing him. So I think he's ready for the
they're-
release show tomorrow.
No, yeah,
No,
so there's this.
have a can ready.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So this is the call to action for everyone listening. Get your cans ready for the middle of the
Throw him
record.
at the guy.
I'm just like,
He gets domed with one that wasn't open.
Oh no.
Just knocked out.
just like blood trickling from my head, and I'm still,
Still
doing
going,
it. Yeah. I don't.
Anyway.
I'm not gonna pay him. No mind. But there is a piano run, like melodic run that I do that I figured out, and I really pushed myself to learn intricate piano licks that that I'm very proud of myself that I did that. So with this record, I challenged myself, and I'm a little nervous to do it live, but I just think the adrenaline will help, and it's gonna be sick. I'm excited for it.
We're entering the second half of the record.
Officially.
We officially made it.
You
there.
have
Wrong
died.
side. You have
You have
You
died.
have died.
Yep.
You died.
Welcome
Yeah,
to the afterlife.
Someone's in the background. You died.
Listen, I'm here. I'll be there.
Yeah.
Lament.
Lament.
That's
That's
Derek's
Derek's
baby.
baby.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
That was
Sorry, that clap was loud.
I'm gonna be brutally honest with you. When writing this song, I don't remember writing this song, and it's more of like, I don't know if you guys ever have this, but like once a year or maybe it's usually once a year. I worry about having to write a song, and I'm like, I really want to write like a solo song, say, so I force myself to sit down and play around, and then once out of the year it just kind of flows out, and this is the song that just like Worry About Me on our previous record, Lament is my baby. Like, this is the song that super personal to me, and I always think about, should it be a solo song on a new solo EP or something like that, and then I usually instantly forget about that and be like, no, this is so much hope. You know what I mean? So now everything I write, and even with the Gross side, we have some happier sounding songs now that I feel like anything I write for my solo music would just be for the band, and I just and I like that.
We own you.
That's okay. It's true. And Lament is the one that is super personal because it studies my faith in God, and I sometimes lack that faith, and I want, because growing up, I went, I was in church with my family and stuff like that, and then once you get a little older, you just kind of stop, and then you start to be having existential crises every day, and every single day, every minute,
Every single day.
So currently, I am going through some crazy stuff. But no, I'm just kidding. But you know what I mean. Just growing older, thinking about your life, and wondering that you want to get closer to God, and it's hard because you don't really follow that stuff anymore. You don't follow that of religion, but every time I write music, it seems to be the forefront. So that's my lament. That's Derek's lament.
There you go.
That's it.
That song is maybe unassumingly intricate too.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's some pretty crazy bass lines in there. The drums are pretty
So Eric,
whack.
wanted to experiment with some drumming stuff, and I'm right down this road. I'm like 5 minutes away. So I came over. I was kind of like tracking. I was at the mixer and kind of like pressing play, and it's pretty crazy what I did too. I was like, boop, and I was like, I'm doing this really well. And
You did such a good job.
thanks, man.
Such a good job.
But yeah, so I remember like he's like, Eric's like, yeah, I got an idea. I got this. Cool. All right, so check it out. So I pressed play, and then he's just started doing this, like riffing on this like drum beat that he can probably tell you more in depth on what it is. But like it blew my mind. I was like, I screamed. He couldn't hear me because he was in the other room. But I screamed. I was like, yes! And it was so cool. And he toyed around with some other things, and I'm like, no. Do what you just did before. So yeah, I love that.
Yeah, the beat that's on the verse.
Second verse, yeah.
Yeah, the beat that's on the second verse is like, there's so many notes happening. It's kind of like a flurry of notes, and I was really cautious where I was like, is this too much? Yeah. Is this just going to be an onslaught of noise, or is this going to come across as cool? And I think just I think it ended up working out really well, and I did toy around. I was with that idea, and I was like, this might be too much, so let me try to mess around with other stuff that isn't as wordy, if you will. And then he was like, nope, go back. So I ended up going back, and I'm very happy.
But you went a little bit more subtle with it, though. I remember.
Yeah, it's just like it's really getting the ghost notes right and making sure the accents are there, so it doesn't seem like such a flurry of noise.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But what's really cool about that one is that second verse, the same beat comes in at the end of the song, except it's moved over to the ride, and there's like different like bell accents and different stuff with it. So there's like a continuity between the two parts.
Mm-hmm. And then at the very end is probably my favorite part of the record, and these guys hate me for it. And there is a
I don't hate you for it.
Thanks, man.
I hate it for it.
Fair enough.
I love it. I'm not having a bad time in that part.
Derek like purposely
Everyone
writes
else
this very rhythmically difficult part,
Yeah.
and then goes, "Hey man, here you go."
No, like at the very end, I wrote it on piano first, so like it's a polyrhythm between my left and right hand. So I'm doing like this bass line with my left hand, and then with my right hand, I'm doing a completely different rhythm, kind of creating a polyrhythm like groove to it. So when I showed that to the group, like to the band, I was like worried about like, are they gonna like this? Is this gonna work musically? So we figured out a way to like have the drums and the bass guitar are in 3, and then the piano and guitar are in 4, and it just creates...
But a weird 4.
A weird 4. Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
a weird 4.
And it's just so much fun to me personally,
Right.
and it's so cool, and I love polyrhythms, and I don't care what you guys say. We're gonna do it more
You're putting
often.
us all in a bunch, man.
I kind of like the trend moving into the next song. I do love that the transition of what you just said into the next one, because we kind of go from like super rhythmically challenging to very like 4 on the floor, like caveman. We go from like really intricate to super simple.
Yeah.
That's the transition of tracks. Yeah, 6 to 7 is the 7 tracks
Thin.
called Paper Thin.
Paper Thin, actually, after we finished Lament practicing it, because we played that was one of the first songs written on the record.
Yeah.
I just started doing the build.
Yeah.
And then started playing that beat.
Yeah.
And I was like, everybody follow me. So they just kind of, made up stuff around that. And
That was also built in the room. Yep.
All of Paper Thin was built in the room. And that ended up having like a big 7/4 part.
Yep.
And I was like, no.
Oh yeah.
And,
I remember it like naturally fell into place though.
Yeah, so what I think
Derek and I were doing something and you were grooving and we just landed on 7.
I think what's cool about that part in 7 is, again, where I land the snare drum, it doesn't repeat after 7. It's technically like 14. It feels a little more comfortable that way. So like my snare drum accents are landing on 5 and then 3 and then 6. So by the time it repeats, it's not like 7. and
Well,
then
I
1
remember.
again.
I remember you were kind of the forefront of the 7 part, and the stipulation was that it had to make sense on what
Yeah.
your snare felt.
Yeah.
It was like if it didn't work, as from what you were doing, like it just wouldn't make any sense. So we had to
Yeah.
like really kind of rally it together. So we had much more of the 7 existing, and then we ended up like shifting it because it just
Right.
it didn't like make that much
You'll notice
until
you'll
the
notice-
end.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You'll notice that in a lot of our music where if there is an odd time signature, I'm making sure that it doesn't feel odd by
Right.
where I'm putting my snare drum hits. So we have a
Yeah.
song called Dissolve that the end is in 5, but I'm thinking of it in 10. And just like where I'm putting the snare drum, like it doesn't make it feel like 5 because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kind of feels weird. And I just like, I don't like. Maybe it's just because I don't know. I just don't
I know what
like
you mean. It's like
preference.
you don't want something that you have to like distract the listener to try and like understand
Follow.
what the heck is happening.
You're right.
Yeah.
Instead, like if it flows really well and it's weird, but it's like it
Yeah, we're-
belongs. It's like that's what makes sense.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's what we like to flow.
So
with.
that's kind of where the 7/4 part came in with Paper Thin.
Right.
Yeah.
Where I was like, nope, it's got to make sense. And,
Yeah.
and it ended up doing, that was
There's-
written in the room.
Mhm.
Yep,
Yep.
there was a bridge. The bridge of Paper Thin. I love.
Yeah.
So that's the one part where there is no piano.
Rage Against the Machine part.
I was just about to say I remember like that was the moment I looked around and I'm like, oh, this is like
And
the
Eric's just
first
like,
time I could ever like unleash my inner Tom Morello. Like, yeah. And, like, yeah. So I just remember from the guitar point of view, like there was a cool build, and I just remember stepping on like the octave pedal and just create like the guitar gets much fuller that way, and it just feels like something Rage would do. Yeah. And I just remember we did that, and I'm just like, this is weird.
cool.
Yeah. It's very weird for our band, but kind of awesome at the same
Yeah.
time, and
Yeah.
I hope we keep
Especially
it.
in context of everything that you just heard up until that point.
Yeah.
Both the album and the song. It's kind of cool
Yeah.
that you just shoved it right
Yeah.
there. So.
Yeah, and this is kind of like our revisit to the pop punk side.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and it's similar to Fade on our last song where we have, a whole segment where
Yeah.
Andrew's singing, but we added a lot more back and forth.
The moment I
vocals for
start
it.
singing is
And
the
then-
moment like it gets pop punk.
Yeah, but I think what makes it different to pop punk is that instead of piano sound, I changed to, I started to dabble with an e-piano sound,
Bell.
Yeah.
which sounds a lot different, and it
Try to
gives it a
experiment with different
unique.
sounds. It took me
sound.
forever to write that second verse. Eric would constantly look at me. Like there was like there was we would play this like the instrumental and Derek's vocals were done for so long, and we would just practice this, and there'd just be dead air for the second verse.
Yeah.
I'm just like everyone looking at me, and I'd just be like in a corner, just like playing the part. Yeah.
Not yet.
And I remember I'm just like I'm getting there, guys. Don't worry. And then like. The verse is probably what, like,
He's like, I'm getting there.
34 words total.
worked.
Yeah.
It worked.
It took me
It
like
came together.
it took me like 90% of the record to finally write it.
Yeah. Oh, we were
like,
well
I'm getting-
into the tracking process. Well into the tracking process.
And just like, I'm getting there, and then he's like, I haven't written a single word.
But it worked. Yeah. So,
And-
It's like the lyrics of that.
Yeah, the lyric with the storyline, the character is kind of he has passed away and he's in the afterlife, but he's still fragile. He's breaking. He's kind of he's paper thin, basically. It's like he's still very fragile, and he's trying to break out of that and find hope with and then I mean that's the idea of the lyrics. There's really nothing too crazy, but
yeah.
And then in the music video, he's ripping out of. So you'll see if you watch the music video that he's stuck in the paper room, essentially. Which
I was just out. My brain just went shout out to Eric and Sarah for building the paper room.
Our room.
Yeah.
We went to like a Goodwill or something and just bought a ton of like old vintagey kind of looking books. They weren't like vintage books, but they were. Looked like they've been around cigarettes their whole existence.
Right.
So they were like yellowed and gross. And just page by page, ripped them all out, got a ton of cardboard and built this gigantic wall of paper. It was 2 walls, came together at the 90-degree angle and put it up in my sister's garage because her garage is taller. And Oh my gosh, that took forever, absolutely forever. And then at the end of the video, he destroys it. So it's fine. It ended up
Do it for the vine.
Exactly.
we had a small army working on that set. We came
Yeah.
over. It was Sarah's little sister, and Derek's wife,
Yeah.
Derek, and then me and Andrew showed up late.
We showed up. What's up, guys? It was like 95% done.
Hey, we just did all this. No, nice, dude.
Everyone's
What's up, guys? Let's start shooting.
everyone's dying. It's like they've been working so hard. And
But that music video is so sick. I'm like super
We showed
proud.
up Chinese.
Super proud
Yeah, we
of
did
all
show
of them.
up with food.
Yeah, right.
We're gonna show you some clips in a little bit, if that's okay with you guys
course,
too.
yeah.
Just to get so you guys at home, if you haven't seen them yet, you can kind of get a general idea of what we're talking about
Yeah,
here.
go on
Awesome.
YouTube and
Nice.
watch them. We have obviously this whole thing is a story, and there's a video for every song, and it's all going to compile into one 40-minute short film.
Wow.
So we are putting Sarah to work on this one.
We're going to
Yeah.
the big screen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we are on the big screen. But and then Heaven Knows.
On to
also
next song,
written
Heaven
together.
Knows.
Yeah, this one started with Andrew's idea with the waltz
Yeah.
piano vibe. So at the time it was very weird, and I was like, this could be interesting, but I'm not too sure. I wasn't sure on your vision. on that. And-
I remember there. I went to say the name. There was like I'm learning the piano more for the last couple of years here. So I was just learning music. There was like a Christian gospel song or something that derived from, and I just like changed the key and changed some of the chordal parts around and made it waltzy and presented it to you. And I'm like, this could be something. And then you took it there from there.
That was my favorite song.
Yeah.
Absolutely my favorite song. But the lyrics are him viewing his funeral.
Yeah, so I kind of I put myself in a dark spot, but when I go to a funeral, it's somehow ironic on how beautiful the day is. That's what I've experienced lately, I guess. Don't do it often.
I was like, how many funerals?
They're just showing up at funerals for the thrill.
Right.
How you doing?
Hey, yo, what's up, guys?
Who's that guy?
That's the funeral guy.
Yeah, he's just like writing an album or something. He's just hanging out.
He said he just needs this for him. Yeah.
No,
Is this guy? Is he dead?
oh my god. But I kind of put myself because you wake up in the morning, it's beautiful out, you're driving, but you're driving with the funeral party.
Yeah,
Was that
whatever.
come? Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're driving, you're passing the stop signs, like you're not even stopping and you're just going, and it's a beautiful day. There's no gloomy weather is one of the lyrics that I like. And you're basically, the character is watching his family kind of like just talk about him and give their eulogies, and that's the gist of it. But it's very it paints a picture, and that music video is going to be visually really cool, and it's going to be like a story. So we're excited for that one.
Yeah.
Musically, this is one of the more interesting things, especially in the piano land. Derek has this really cool jazz lick at the end of it.
Yeah, again, that's another thing I forced myself to learn. I really love jazz music, and I never got into it. But I was always a saxophone player, so you would assume that I would like that.
Yeah.
But as I grew older, I kind of, my dad loves smooth jazz and all kinds of jazz, and got me into that a bit. And I discovered Oscar Peterson, which is a brilliant pianist. And it's just like crazy speed jazz. And there's some crazy piano licks that he was in. I just wanted to learn one for fun. So that kind of forced myself to kind of create a jazz lick that I wasn't sure if it was going to fit with the melody or even the key of it. But I do at that exact moment, I add a jazz chord and then I do the lick. And it fits with it. And it's sick. And when we were writing it, we were trying to figure out a cool drum beat with that, and right when I hit the last note of that, he stops the drums, and it really works with the music.
Right.
It's cool.
Yeah.
And then there's a guitar solo.
I was gonna say the guitar solo. The guitar solo wasn't even my idea. I'm not the biggest guitar solo guy, but I feel like it might have been Eric that was just like, nah, this feels like it needs like an epic guitar solo.
We've also never
We've
done
never
a
done
guitar
it,
solo,
yeah.
and we're not like a lead guitar centric band,
Right.
So I was like, man, this would come out of like left field, but be so cool.
Yeah.
Someone's like, I want someone to listen to the record, not get to this, through all these songs and go, yeah, I already get it. I want them to get to each song and go, oh my gosh, like there's something new
different.
here. There's something new here. So with it not being on any track before, whether this album or previous, I was like, oh, this would be so cool. Look at my guitar solo.
Yeah.
And then Andrew, myself, and Gavin kind of workshopped the solo together.
Yes,
We're all
I loved
sitting-
I loved creating it because it was us just passing the guitar around in a circle, and we just kept chopping up pieces of like, oh, that worked there, and we just puzzle pieced all of our ideas together.
Yeah.
And it worked out really well.
When they passed me the guitar, it just was all the wrong notes.
All of the strings just
we had to
fell
cut
off.
his.
Were you there?
No, I don't think I was.
I don't think he was there.
I don't think I was there.
But and then I have to say, there's a guitar bend note in that solo, which is my father's favorite note of the record. He's like the best note of that whole record.
He's
is
listening
that guitar
very
solo.
closely.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So
When
I love the guitar solo.
I
And don't
listened
think-
back to the solo and like maybe it's just my influences, but I always think I keep telling myself in my brain that this sounds like if like Rivers Cuomo like started the solo and then traded it off at like for like the last 2 seconds to Mark Tremonti from Creed. I tell myself that in the solo all the time because it's so like melody based, and then right at the end I did this like I was obsessed with Mark Tremonti in some of my early guitar learning, like in my teens, and he's known for doing this like legato kind of technique playing. So I was like, we gotta do this right at the end. So it was like a little homage to Mark Tremonti. Yeah.
Cool. Next one.
In hindsight, so
That's the third one that was written in the
But
room.
yeah, that was in
Yep.
the room, and it was really organic.
Yeah,
it
it
came
was
together really, really beautifully.
Yeah.
And
Obvious thing is Gavin singing a lot of lead parts.
The big X factor there.
Yeah.
I really wanted it. Like when I wrote the melody, it felt like, I would be singing, and then Gavin would be singing, and then somebody else would come in, and then the third person would come in, and
Yeah.
and I remember it was Eric's choice for the beginning verse to be down an octave instead of high, because I was gonna belt right from the beginning.
I very, very distinctly remember using the chorus effect on the guitar, saying we wanted to go for like a shoegazy kind of vibe. Eric and I, with our friend Ann Stramera, who had a band called Altered Pink, played a couple of times with a band called Turnover. And I remember we constantly looked at each other where it was like, this feels kind of Turnover in the beginning. Yeah. So like something about the laid backness of it all came from that idea. Yeah.
Super chill on that until which we ended up bringing the sax back. Which that was actually a big topic. So I love the story of this one. So we came out with Ivy Line to Sam Not Weak. It was Idle Hands that had the sax on it. People were always waiting for that moment live. They would always say like, the sax is sitting on stage and we're not touching it. And because
It's teasing you.
Yeah, because Idle Hands is the last song that we'd play in our set. So everyone's like, what gives? So we pulled it out. Of
Last,
course,
like,
everyone's like,
45
oh
seconds.
my God,
Yeah.
this is happening. So we were like, man, if we bring the sax back on With a Grow, is this going to downplay Idle Hands at all? So there was a big debate whether we should even bring it back or not. And then when we were writing this, I was like, okay, well, if we're going to bring it back, it needs to be brought back in the polar opposite way that Idle Hands was. So Idle Hands comes out of the gate swinging. As soon as you hear that sax, it's like, this huge note goes into this thing. I was like, we're going to go the opposite end of the spectrum here. It's going to be chill. It's going to be as chill as possible. And then I also really wanted it to be where it was on the record, because you get through 90% of the album And if you're an older fan of ours, you would think, oh, I guess they're not going to bring it back. But then all of a sudden, like right near the tail end of the record, we bring it back. So I really wanted that. And there was a couple of people that told me that they were like, we didn't think we were going to do it, and then there it was. So I was like, that's really what I wanted.
It was there for, we were going to have In Hindsight be a single. I know Andrew was very like,
I fought
really
for it.
wanted that.
I lost.
Fought for that. but we didn't do it because, you know, if that was one of our singles, it's like, it's like the audience is like,
I get it.
Kind of assuming that. The sax
I
should
don't
be
think
there.
we wanted. We ultimately decided we don't want to be the saxophone band, like at the forefront of it all. Like we know it's an element that we have that's fantastic, but we don't want to be like the piano / saxophone band,
Right.
Because then we have to put it in all the time.
Yeah, that's true.
So we were very clear on not doing that as a single to kind of get the message across. Just like we just put out 3 singles and there's no saxophone, you know. But yeah, when we were writing it, you know, when we were playing it live in the studio, there was a saxophone lick that in my brain just kind of like came to life, and I was like, it's got to be right there,
Right.
So that song, also came very organically for us.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember like listening to the saxophone part and just being like, this sounds like the Dave Matthews Band in a good way. Yeah. So that's why I was like, it doesn't have that explosion that Eric talked about. I'm like, there's something about this that's just great. Very different. Very different.
There's a really like when we play this live. Well, the first time we did with the saxophone live in the studio. We haven't played this live in front of anyone yet. But when I cranked out the saxophone for the first time and played that solo through, I have to. So Andrew and Gavin have to sing.
Yes.
Because I need time to grab my sax and then get right into it.
Yeah.
So when I went to the solo, I played the whole solo, and then what I do is I drop the sax and then I go right to the piano and I sing like seconds
Like
after.
starts belting too.
And belt too.
Yeah.
So like I'm blowing like crazy on the saxophone. I apologize.
Just to be clear.
Just to be clear, just
blowing the saxophone.
Listen, it's just woodwind stuff.
It's true.
Just being...
It's all right. And then I drop it and I go right into belting and singing for the rest of the song.
Yeah.
So the first time I did that,
You almost fainted.
I almost fainted. I started seeing like stars.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy crap. So I had to
the
like
first time we're
take a
going
breather.
through it, Gavin and I are just singing, and there's Derek who's like blood red.
So I 100% had to learn how to breathe.
Yeah.
And now every time I do it, I still feel a little lightheaded, but it's
You got
coming
used to it.
natural now. You know, it's and I'm afraid possibly tomorrow when I'm on stage and I'm sweaty.
You either forget how
I'm
to breathe.
sweaty, and I might pass out. Yeah, but that's okay because it would work with the symbolism.
He's dead.
And then you're dead for the last song.
Yeah.
That's right.
Very theatrical.
Yes,
You
exactly.
even have your lament, which is a very theatrical. I love that. Break usually, and then, you know.
And in hindsight, we can look on like. In hindsight, I will be able to reflect on that moment and not do it again.
And then the very last track of the record.
Final song,
Forever in Echo.
which I think was the last song written.
I believe so.
Also
I think
together.
that was I think.
Also
Yeah, that was
together.
100% of the room. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
100% of the room.
We were riffing off of Dissolve a little bit.
Yeah,
With that
they
one.
are in like the same key.
Yeah, but the big
The
big thing with Forever and Echo was Xenazylazole.
Oh, I remember this. Yeah, Gavin and I have like a really, really dumb joke to ourselves. That's not even funny. Like I just remember it was like a late night drive, and we just started like talking about like prescription med commercials or so. We ended up going on like just a rant and like this weird. It was like we're talking like 1 a.m. It's funny to us, but not actually funny.
What?
Yeah,
This song was nothing yet except
Yeah.
for its instrumental at the very core.
yeah.
And so we're listening back on everything, and it was probably me, and I was just came up with xenazolazole as a medication to talk about
it was
over the music, and I was like, we need to sell this.
So like there's like a version that Eric has on his computer where it's just the instrumental of this and someone saying
It's
like
Derek.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
do you remember what you said exactly?
No, it was like
Really dumb.
xenazolazole is a
Yeah.
prescription medication.
medication. and like
Designed
take it.
to-
Yeah, it was like take it. Own it. Yeah. And
We have like a full prescription med.
oh, and then at the end it was like
30-second long like verbiage of
at the end of it, I was like, and you can get it at your nearest Walgreens. You know?
Side effects include
we had like
falling
the
off.
whole thing.
And then right
Over
after
the
that,
verse, yeah.
right after that, it goes right into the chorus. Don't forget, you know. Like,
don't forget
hilarious.
xenazolazole.
yeah.
Yeah, so obviously that was the demo name for the longest time, and then that happened, and that was
Yeah.
just a running joke
So,
for a really
I guess
long
the-
time. Yeah,
Yeah, the final song on the record feels a little bit more like happy in a way,
Yeah.
because of the lick
Yeah.
that you wrote on the guitar.
Yeah.
But the hook to it, the
great.
chorus, it just comes in and you just want to dance and
Yeah.
it makes you feel
yeah.
It's my
Pretty
favorite
good.
chorus.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
chorus.
great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, it follows that trajectory where it's like respite's down here, and like it needed to be above the other ones in terms of dynamics and theme and vibe. It needed to be a little bit more hopeful, like on that
Yeah.
upswing.
Yeah, and it's just with the
was,
character learning that inner fire wasn't a bad thing, and he learned from that and
Like
and
coming to accept.
acceptance. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that the character lives on in the afterlife,
Yeah.
and he's always there, and yeah,
And then
And
it
he
also
finds the light.
follows his spouse who's still living. So,
I-
there's a deep dive into the record right
So
there.
if you ever seen
Yeah.
the movie Ghost,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's pretty.
This is the
romantic as well.
soundtrack.
This is the
This is the soundtrack.
At this point.
It gets it's really romantic. You know.
That was a very deep dive into every single song.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank
We
you.
did it. We came out the other side.
It felt good. We grew from that.
We literally, we just went.
I mean,
through
like
the
at
whole
first
curve.
we were withering, but like,
Okay.
and then we definitely grew from
Then
it.
you grew?
Let the man speak.
Genius.
Kidding.
Let's talk about this beautiful album art that you guys
Yes.
have been seeing on
Oh,
camera
yes.
the whole
Oh, yeah.
time. I will put this up in more detail on the screen here, so you can at home can see what we're looking at.
Let's go.
Here's the final. You can take it out here. And here's a close-up of the actual art itself, which I'm very happy to say is not AI.
No.
Yep.
Because, boy, am I steamed about that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, we'll...
Same.
So it is nice to see, you know, especially, I guess, from musicians, it really bugs me just because it's like, well, you guys don't want your music ripped off.
Right.
You don't
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
somebody else to just claim your music and
Right.
just say, well, that's mine now, and I could do whatever I want with it, and I
Yep.
could use it in whatever I want.
Right.
But you're okay with taking somebody else's art, which is what this is, you know, the art is trained, the AI is trained on.
Exactly.
You're okay with that? I don't really
Right.
I don't really understand that.
No, I'm right there with you.
But this is a beautiful package. You've got the lyrics and everything on here.
There's a synopsis of side A and side B.
Wow.
Within the on the
Okay.
vinyl sheet.
The
so you can-
storyline.
Yeah, you can see like kind of the storyline and whatnot. So the guy who did it, his name is Adam Burke, from Nightjar Illustration. He's from oh my gosh, Oregon. He lives in
Yeah.
Oregon. So there, we actually have two variants. That is the Wither variant, and there is a Grow variant that is green and white instead of black and blue. But so Adam has done a couple records in the past that I've really admired the art for, and then I started looking into him as just an artist, not just album art, but just as an artist, and I thought he was phenomenal. And I was like, man, that would be so sick one day to have some album art designed by him. So then I brought it up to the guys and I said, hey, like, what do you think of this guy's art? And do you think he could do the album? And they were like, yeah, of course, he's great. So I hit him up and I said, hey, this is our concept. This is the idea. Go for it. Literally no revisions. We had one revision, which was a color thing. It wasn't even like a structural.
Like in
can
the center,
saturate more. Or
yeah,
something
we
like
wanted
that.
more
Yeah.
greens and more like
Yeah.
saturation on the ends.
So really the only thing that really changed was the gold frame got a little more gold, the green got a little more green, the yellow got a little more yellow in the sun.
Just for
Other
that
than that,
contrast with the story.
structurally, he sent us the drawing of it, and we were like, "Oh my gosh, this is so sick!" So then he hand paints this with acrylic on a 16 by 32 piece of wood, which we had to get.
Yeah.
So
Brought
that, right? I know I'm terrified to have that leave the studio. So that is hanging in the studio now. The original painting that Adam did because
that's awesome.
because no AI slop here. We're we're very trying to be very genuine, authentic. You know, our music comes from that place, so we believe our art should also come from that place. And our our videos as well. Like everything really comes from an artistic point of view first. So that was really important. And Adam just did a phenomenal job. And Adam gets a lot of compliments on this album.
Absolutely.
A lot of compliments.
Well deserved.
And actually, on the front, if you look, I said it was a 16 by 32.
Yeah.
So that scales to 1224, and then the front is the right half of the painting, and the back is the left half of the painting.
Yeah.
So we told him, we were like, okay, conceptually, you cut your paintings in half to be the front and the back.
Right.
So just make the back dead and withered and gross, and then on the front is going to be this frame. And I think what was really cool about this is that the frame is not it's not like so vibrant and so lush and so life oriented, because it's just supposed to be a glimmer of hope with it.
Yeah.
So you could tell in the frame something is happening. There is growth out of this. There is there is a hopefulness out of it, but it's not this massive contrast between like death and the most beautiful life thing.
Right.
It's supposed to be just a little glimmer of hope out of it. So Adam just killed it. Absolutely killed it.
And you've got a nice CD package for people who don't have a record player, don't collect records. I'm happy to find that you have CDs because I love CDs.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a CD guy.
Yeah, we got the CDs. We'll have the vinyls and the
No, the
CDs
CDs.
at our album release show, tomorrow. And what's really cool is the design on the inside is a little bit different on the two. So also kind of an intentional choice to my wife, who designs the whole thing. If you get one piece of the media and then you get the other, you're not just getting a carbon copy, the same thing but smaller.
Right.
It's different. You're getting something where it's like, oh, okay, this is unique in its own way. The vinyls are unique in its own way. The physical, actual plastic of the vinyl is unique in its own way. We did a very limited run of these, and we wanted to make it something really special. That, if you got the blue and black, or the green and white, or whatever, it's super special.
Yeah,
So-
we were having so much fun with the design and like the merch store and like what we can do to kind of play with the storyline and the design for like the shirts and like the bundle packaging and play with that the wither side, where we'd have like a wither bundle that we have on our store, and that would come with the wither t-shirt, as well as the
Which is based off of the song Falter.
correct, yeah.
Right.
And so
then
that's
the
really
Grow.
cool. And then we have the grow one that has the paper thin t-shirt.
And the green and white vinyl.
The green,
So
yeah.
it was like very intentionally packaged to be like the Wither bundle and the Grow bundle.
Yeah, it was
So-
fun to play with that and
Yep.
to kind of be artsy with that as well.
I put those up on the screen too, so people
Oh,
could
cool.
see that
Thank
kind
you,
of
thank
stuff. So it really feels like a cohesive vision that you guys had for everything too, and it really comes together the music videos, and then you also have these great clips for social media of like you playing some of the songs live or doing like one take type videos and with like these really cool backgrounds, not just like from your studio, but it looks like maybe some other places that you guys have, shot some of these before too. One thing that I'm always kind of really push local bands on is that they have to get better with social media. They have to get better with marketing themselves, that sort of thing. And like you guys have mentioned earlier, it can tie into the creativity of the band. That it doesn't have to be a separate thing.
Yes.
Where it's like, I'm so exhausted from the creative part of the music that now I don't want to put any effort into the marketing. And it's like, but
no one's going to find your product.
Exactly. No one's going to find that music.
It could be a masterful piece of work, but in today's age of everything being oversaturated, it's still going to be buried.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No pun intended.
I think something really important with that too is, a lot of people don't like to mix art and money.
Yep.
But for I would argue if you're that type of person, I think a better way to think about it would be, well, if your art generates money, you can do more art.
Yeah.
So for us, I say this right now. We were fortunate enough that, we get to do what we do. But if this band said, oh my gosh, we have such a genius idea for a music video, we need to rent a helicopter and go to New Zealand.
Right.
Well, that's not on the cards right now. That's not going to happen.
Right.
So money is the thing that would stop us from being creative. It would, like if we might have this grand creative vision, but we're halted by it. So I think instead of trying to fight against the money side, well, let's work with that. Let's say like, okay, well, like what can we do to market this to gain the most money so then we can continue to be creative and then be creative to a crazy degree.
Yeah.
And I'm not a huge fan of Billie Eilish, but I was watching one of her music video breakdowns, and I don't even know the song because I'm not a big fan, but I know the music video was shot where she's underwater in a house, and they flooded a house that they built. And it was like millions of dollars. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the coolest music video ever. If somebody was like, nope, you don't have the money, she maybe not could have done that vision and then created that art for us to enjoy. So even though I'm not a big fan of her music, I watched that video and I was like, yo, that is so sick. So I think that's kind of an argument for the business side of things to say like, work with it, try to gain as much money, because even at the end of the day, if you're not renting a helicopter in New Zealand, you're at least making another record.
Yeah.
And continue to make more music and continue spending time to make more music. So that's kind of, where our brains are at with that one.
I feel like too that musicians have to be nerds about music to appreciate all that kind of stuff and understand all that stuff. In the same way that like, I'm a big comic book guy. Yeah. So it's not just I'm going to go see the movie and then never think about it ever again. I'm going to read the comic. I'm going to watch the cartoon. I'm going to watch the movie. Then I'm going to collect the action figures. Right. I'm going to put it all together in one kind of thing. And then me and Jason, whoever else I can convince to talk to me about it, we will nerd over it and think about it and like, whatever. You really get into every aspect of it, and you appreciate the different kinds of art and how adaptation works and how what works in a comic might not necessarily work on the screen. And so how do you adapt it well or how do you adapt it badly in a lot of cases, things like that.
That, going hand in hand with what you just said, like correlating with what you talked about in social media before, like in my brain, there also has to be a deep love and appreciation for that as well.
Yeah.
I would like, and I look at that from the perspective of I love studying. I've been around long enough to study the PR campaigns of things that I genuinely like appreciate, and so I have this deep love for, I guess, innovating wherever I can.
Yep.
And so I feel like we definitely adapted that mentality on what we try to do with our releases.
Yeah.
So like I think back to I'd Be Lying. There was this idea with the coffee shop Yeah, we did. We had 2 release shows. The first one was acoustic. At Abide over in Wilkes-Barre, and the marketing behind it was like Eric knows the owner, and we created this concept where we'd have drinks named after the songs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's like that. You don't have to know. You don't have to know the band or really even like appreciate the band. You just look at that and you go, "That's cool." Yeah.
Right.
Like for this record, Respite I purposely really fought. I didn't really fight because everyone agreed. I really wanted Respite to be the first thing because it was just like this post-hardcore 4-piece rock band put out this classical piece. Like I think just putting those things out and understanding that it serves its purpose and makes it different, and gives you this sense of like individuality will create. That's the kind of stuff that trickles and creates virality.
Yeah.
So it's like it's already cool at its core. It's just understanding what you think is cool and hoping, and then really trying to blow it out of proportion to the public so they get it.
Right.
So it's just like there's this weird middle ground of like, hey, you already think this is cool, but now you have to have this deep love and appreciation for taking the idea that you think is cool, and showing everyone.
Right.
Like and like that's where that disconnect happens because they think it's like a lot of the time people think something's awesome, but then they're just like, I won't bother to show people.
Yeah.
And it's just like, no, you have to like love the idea of like, if you have to love something so much to its core that you want to show people.
Yeah.
Which we didn't touch on it, but that music video is shot completely underwater with our actor John, and that was the most fun I have ever had shooting a music video. It was me, it was John, and it was Sarah. And Sarah it was January. My daughter was born in May. So she was like enough pregnant where she like didn't want to swim and couldn't do it. So I was like, don't worry, I got it. So John and I like we got a pool. We rented a pool.
Yep.
From the YMCA. They let us rent it out, and it was great because it was like 88 degrees or something. It was wonderful. So, and we went in there, and like I had my underwater camera, and I went for it, and we just kept going up and down and up and down and up and down and getting all the shots. And when you see the raw footage compared to what Sarah did with it, it's like. Because I was looking at the footage and I was like, oh no, this isn't it. This isn't going to come out. Like we spent all this time and all this money and whatnot to make this happen, and it sucks. And she's like, hold on. And she worked her magic, and I was like, oh, this is great. This is incredible. So yeah, it was wonderful. It was just so cool to do. And John's like fully dressed up in a suit, because it was post-mortem. So he's in this like suit and tie and whatnot. Yeah. He's just like floating in the water.
It looks so cinematic.
Yeah, some of the shots are just gorgeous. And we shot that with essentially a GoPro. It was by DJI. So it's like a GoPro equivalent or whatever. And you'd be surprised what what a professional can do with that. Because Sarah uses a pretty nice camera for shooting. So I was like, well, we can't take that underwater. And I started looking into underwater housing for it, and they're like $5,000 for the housing, and then there's nowhere to rent the housing. So I'm like, we can't use your camera. I don't know what to do. So I start looking into underwater cameras, and forget that because they're 15 grand.
Yeah.
So I find this DJI, and I was thinking like, oh well, GoPros are waterproof.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I know, like they're not considered the best in terms of cinematography, but this is all we have. So I ended up buying it just as like a studio investment basically, and it was mainly for the underwater thing, but I started using it for drum cam, so it worked for multiple things. But I was like, this is literally all we have, so let's just do it.
Yeah. And
that's I think another thing to you can be creative with what you got, and you don't have to spend 25 grand on something. Like you can make it happen. So that was just made happen with this little DJI camera and Sarah's vast knowledge of video editing and coloring, and yeah, that was just, it was beautiful. So.
And then even from the social media perspective, you're taking those videos and you're cutting clips out and doing teasers and building up to it, like, hey, this is coming out here. So let me play those for you now, actually, so that you guys at home kind of get an idea of what we're talking about here, and you can kind of see some of the really great cinematography that Sarah's done. The Q&A sort of thing. I think that works much better.
The Beyblade approach.
See, that tells you our different generations there. You know, when I think pull the ripcord, I think of like my Masters of the Universe figures drag store, where you stick the little thing, and pull the thing, and then the little figure runs across the thing. You think Beyblade, so totally different generation there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Same technology has not changed at all. Toys are made the exact same way. Don't let them ever tell you otherwise.
Except the little monsters don't actually come out of the thingamajig.
Beyblade has become more of like a professional grade thing. I don't know if you've seen that.
There's also these videos going around, and this guy he approaches random strangers. He's like, "Hey, when's the last time you let one rip?"
Yeah, and he just sets it all up like around the
He's
spot.
like, let's go, and they have a great time.
Well, there is a promoter locally. Her name's Donna. They go by like Jump the Gap and stuff. They're trying to do like a mixed media festival.
Yeah.
But the shows that they've been doing leading up to it, I know like one of them, they'll have like Beyblade competitions.
That's hilarious.
It's amazing.
It's great.
I
idea.
think September 3rd to the 5th. And I know like one of the days at the Ritz at the dungeon, they're gonna have a Beyblade competition.
Yeah, it's some serious stuff now. I don't know if you've like kept up on your Beyblade, but people are committed to this now, and it's very much a professional sport.
Yeah.
Derek, you better bust a move, bro.
Wow.
Right now?
Yeah.
How?
Just
Right
do
now.
something.
Do something.
Thanks.
Incredible.
But yeah, I really try to emphasize with local artists that they need to pay more attention to what other local artists are doing well,
Right.
and also like you said, listen to maybe listen to a podcast with an artist that you normally would have never listened to otherwise, or watch an interview with them or something like that. I'm always doing that to be a better interviewer.
Right.
I'm always listening to other interview podcasts.
Yeah.
And I try to listen to a variety of stuff, people interviewing not just musicians, but actors and comedians and all kinds of things to
Right.
really kind of get a feel of how can I make my show better.
Yeah.
And then I might pick up things, little stuff like, the way that he placed that camera is really cool. The whole GoPro thing. That was an idea that I stole from somebody else who I saw doing it, was like doing an overhead shot.
Yeah.
I'm like, we need to have that too. Like, why not incorporate that in
Using
there?
their idea as the template.
Yes.
I that's in my brain all the time.
That's exactly it.
Exactly.
You don't
and then
have
you create
to-
your own form of it through
Right.
the template.
Yeah, you would never know that that's what it's from because
Exactly.
we're doing it in a different way. You know, same with the way that we set up, you know, the studio and stuff too. Like every little thing is thought about. You know, the blue, however all the blues go together and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like it's all kind of just stuff that I've spent a lot of time thinking about and putting effort into.
Right.
And I feel like if you know, local bands, I'll be like, you know, they'll say, oh yeah, I'm having trouble with this. Did you watch this podcast? No, I didn't watch the podcast.
Right.
I'm like, it doesn't matter if you know the people or not. That's another struggle. It's like a lot of people, well, I don't know that. I don't know any of you guys. So why am I going to watch this podcast with these guys? And it's like, because you need to know about your scene that you're in, that you're a part of.
Right.
You know, you need to have interest in other people. In the same way that if you don't go to shows and show up for other people, they ain't going to your shows either.
Right.
They're not going to show up. They're going to say, I've never seen you before. Why would I go to your show? Why would I be interested in what you're doing?
Larger scale, you really hit something, you really resonate with me on something. It's that, I don't know if we mentioned this in the beginning or not, but everyone in the band has like their own interests, and we kind of like designate lightly a role to each person.
Yeah.
I'm kind of the lightly designated marketer of the band.
Yeah.
And it's,
You're the marketer. Bro.
yeah. well, but it
Not
goes.
lightly designated.
You are. It correlates with what you said, though. It's just, it's like I have a genuine interest in that, and so I love studying marketers of every variety.
Yeah.
And I just wanted like, and so obviously being in a band, I'll stay with a lot of the time within the confines of the music industry. I'll listen to stuff outside of that because I just genuinely like to see people use innovative tactics. And like you said, like, and we talked about templating before. I love listening to podcasts with like how people promote like national bands, global bands, things along those lines.
Right.
Honestly, and then I'll just take that and create my own version of it.
Yep.
And approach everyone here with it. It's just it comes from the genuine interest in wanting to be better at it.
Yeah, and
that's it.
You think if you think you don't have the time, if you think you're too busy and whatever, put it on in the background while you're doing something else.
Headphones. I'll be cleaning my house and I'll be listening to a podcast with like this guy that's marketing X band or something like that. Yeah,
absolutely. Every once in a while, and then you know maybe you'll hear something like, oh wait, go back. Let me listen to that again. You know that kind of thing. Always kind of keep that stuff in mind because I can't stress enough that the local scene always needs that extra boost, especially in the social media algorithm where it's so hard to keep people's attention.
Absolutely.
And stuff. So I appreciate that you guys are putting out a lot of high quality work here into the actual the music and everything too. But you know the marketing stuff does not go unnoticed. Even just like you know I put up these shirts before. But who are the models of the shirts? But the opening band for the show coming up that you have here. That's Look Back Luna.
Yeah.
So like you know little stuff like that because then you also know that you know obviously they're friends. They're gonna do this. They're gonna share it too.
Exactly.
They're gonna show it to their friends. So now their fans are now going to see what you're up to, and they're like, oh, what's this? And obviously they like you guys enough that they're wearing your merch and they're showing it off.
Yeah.
I got to give these guys a listen. I'm going to give that a shot. You never know how people are going to discover what you're doing.
We took that a little step further. Our merch person for this show is our female actor, Rebecca.
Oh.
So, so you'll see a really familiar face if you've seen the music videos.
Yeah, and like you said, it's just that's how those communities and those support systems thrive. Ultimately, it's just like you know, both the opening acts of the release show have worked with Eric, and that's how the relationships are established. But like, it's gonna prosper into like I remember when we had these conversations, it was just like these are great bands, they're great people. He tells us that we're like obviously you're our friend and we trust your opinion. Yeah. So it's all in the vein of like these are good people doing something cool that we appreciate. Let's keep it all together. Right. And if anyone wants to piggyback any ideas off of anything, let's go ahead. Like,
right. Well, I always go out of my way in my interviews to ask people for advice on this type of stuff so that people who are listening, we're really paying attention, will take that advice into account. But you don't have to do that. It's just if you listen long enough, you're going to pick up like, oh yeah, okay, I should be doing that. Oh yeah, they mentioned this. that's a good idea. You know, that sort of
exactly. And it's just piggybacking ideas off of each other constantly, especially in the age of social media, because local scenes, obviously, like when you look at it outside of the online spectrum, your local scene is doing what it's doing, but the internet exists.
Yeah.
So it's just like you could post, someone in the local scene could post something, but it has potential to have a national and or even global reach, and could inspire millions by just being on Instagram.
Yep.
It's just like you really just have to keep that in mind of like anyone could be inspired by anything anywhere. You just have to be willing to be a learner of it.
Well, I mean, the general assumption for most artists is that you want a larger audience.
Of course,
you don't want to be hidden. So these people who maybe update Instagram once every 6 months and like, well, we're mysterious. We're really, it's like, you're not, you just toss that. Like, throw out that idea completely.
Yeah.
Like, you're not being mysterious. You're not being cool by not being a part of social media.
Right.
It's like, well, yeah, we don't really do that. And it's like, yeah, so you don't really like people listening to you, right?
Right.
I guess that's the idea.
I think there's like a stigma around there's a stigma around like battling social media, essentially.
Right.
But I think the issue, and this is just my opinion, I think the issue at the smaller local level is the people that are at the smaller bands that are just trying to break out and use that mentality don't realize that the bands that are already doing that are well established, and they don't have to do that because they're going to go play a show somewhere and 600 media outlets are just going to be like, this band did this.
Right.
And they're just like, well, that band doesn't do it, so we don't have to. But the issue is no one knows who you are. Like, so you kind of have to kick in the door somehow.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, there was a very poorly worded article that went viral maybe a few months ago that Goose is a psyop. It was kind of the,
yes.
I think was the title or close to, I'm paraphrasing a little bit. But that the idea that this band Goose that is this jam band and has gotten very big, they've really blown up, is that it's really all this fake manufactured marketing that's been shoved down your throat that has made you like this band. They're actually not. They don't deserve any of the attention that they're getting.
Right.
They don't deserve the success or anything else. And I'm like, so wait, So they had marketing? They had a manager? They had a social media guy? That's a psyop now? Like, that's how cynical we've gotten, where it's like, so somebody really got through and got their original stuff out there and is actually building on their talent and is gaining a wider audience, and we're mad about that.
Yeah, and it feels like the masses never see the foundational work.
Right.
It's just like, Goose has a gigantic fan base that's just never been at the forefront of media that you're taking in.
Yes.
And now all of a sudden they have one guy that unlocked that, and they're just like, where did these thousands of fans come from?
Yes.
It's like they've always been there. You don't follow the band. They're just on the magazine cover now.
Right.
That's it. Yeah.
Exactly. This there's this false narrative about overnight success, and pretty much every actual band, and I've heard this in so many interviews with artists, every band that has been labeled that way, a lot of like one-hit wonders, for example, are labeled not only as one-hit wonders, which is a whole separate discussion in and of itself. You mean they were successful? But they are that there's this cynical sort of that they don't deserve what they've gotten,
right,
because of what but it's like they've literally worked for 5, 6, 7, 8 years in their local scene and in like the general area where they can tour and things like that, and built up this base for this longest time,
right? And
now they've gotten the national hit, and because you've never heard of them and there's some band from some other state far away, you're like, oh my God, they're overnight successes,
right?
And it's like, that is absolutely not the case.
It never
always,
is.
Exactly.
Honestly, it never.
It's very rare that that's the case.
Yeah, and it's funny because I think that narrative has skewed like a generation of bands very like to want to reach like the height of underground success and stay there. Like
right.
Because they're like, we're cool with our 1,000 fan cap, but we know if we bust through that a little bit more, people are going to start to not like us.
Right.
Like bands are realizing this. Like,
yeah.
And it's like, it almost becomes the mission to be the biggest unknown band ever. Like,
Right. Yep.
Because the moment you're like on the cover of Rock Feed is the moment you have divisive fans. Like,
Yes.
And they're like, I don't know. Obviously we're like, none of us have ever reached that level, so we don't know what it's like to have 1,000 people like you and 1,000 people hate you simultaneously.
Right. Well, it's history repeating itself, because if you watch any interview with a band from the 90s, and you hear from them nowadays, which they're all now considered nostalgia acts, and a lot of them are doing better sometimes now than they were even then.
Oh yeah,
with, record company contracts ripping them off and all that kind of stuff. But at the time in the 90s, it was very much considered you are a sellout if you were successful.
Oh yeah.
So it was this double-edged sword where you had these great bands, especially when the alternative rock movement of the 90s came out. A lot of those bands, because they were underground and now all of a sudden their songs are on the radio and it's more mainstream, all of those bands got labeled as sellouts. So now they're fighting that constantly, where they're fighting with their own fans, essentially.
Yeah.
Where they're like, I loved you until everyone else heard about
the
you.
radio record happened.
Now I hate you.
Yeah.
It's like, but you liked the songs a minute ago.
Exactly.
And
you can't help but always notice the audience size getting substantially larger with the record that made the radio.
yeah, absolutely. And sure, there's bands that might change or adapt with the new success that they have.
Right.
And you're going to have record companies poking like, hey, write another one of those hits.
Exactly.
You know, so you're going to have those types of things for sure. But I think overall it's just silly to hate bands for succeeding, because if you are an actual fan, you should want.
You're gonna love it through and through, no matter what.
I feel that way with Phoebe Bridgers right now. Like I got into her music back when she was basically just kind of starting, and I was like, oh, this is the perfect time to see her live, and I just never gotten the chance to. And then she stopped doing music for a while. I mean, she probably still was, but like she stopped for like 6 years, and then she just came back yesterday. And she announced a tour, and I was like, I get to see her live for once. And now that she's huge, I missed out on, and it's all sold out now. I missed that, and I'm angry about that. But I'm also very happy that people like her.
Well,
music.
people should want to feel that way.
Yeah.
I mean, the
people
fact that
should be like, no, I'm mad because she sold everything out. Like,
right. I'm like, that's awesome, but like, crap.
Right.
Well, the fact that you're that passionate about it,
right?
Like that just shows you that you are, a real fan. That's the kind of fan that they really want to get.
Yeah. I'm really excited for that.
And to like kind of touch on the business point of it a little bit, we very fortunately and unfortunately live in a time where anyone could be independent and rise to the top.
Yeah.
That also like this kind of like that also correlates with this conversation a little bit in my brain, just because I don't remember where I'm going.
Yeah, it'll come back.
There was something here. I promise.
Yeah, it'll come back to you. But like I said, I encourage local bands, listen to this stuff.
Yes.
Really take a few minutes and pay attention to it. Put it on, even if you put it on in the background. Because a lot of people also creating this content, you also got to share it too. I see a lot of people who are like, I've had people message me and they're like, that thing where you talk to people, I want to do that. And it's like, so you don't even know the name of the show? It's pretty obvious. I don't know. I think I've made it pretty clear what the name of the show is or whatever. So it's like that shows me that like you don't really care, and you just want to use people for something as opposed to like, hey, I love the episode you did with these people. I would love to be on that as well. That shows me like, oh wow, you actually care and you want to be a part of it and whatever. And it's like that's also part of marketing, is like reaching out to media outlets,
right?
Getting their attention, things like that. for me, it's pretty easy. You're just going to find me around somewhere. Like
Exactly.
when you're local scene, like that's pretty.
We'll see you at the anthracite.
Yeah. Right. Like, but whereas like, if you want even just the local news to cover your show or talk to you, or you want to go on PA Live or something like that, you got to take that initiative, but you also have to, be polite about it, put your marketing hat on for a minute and present yourself
at
and like,
the core
here's
of
what
it,
we do.
It comes from genuine care of your product. Like I think you have to 150% deeply care about what you're doing, and if you have any hesitations at all, you're going to be like, should I reach out? Like so, and I think that so at the core of it, I think no matter what, foundationally, you just have to love what you're doing through and through, and if you truly and honestly do that, you will learn to love getting it out into the world.
Yeah.
And I think that makes a huge difference.
Most local bands don't even have their own website. Which is like, that's 101 right there.
Right.
Especially with people searching for you and stuff. Have a bio. Maybe do some press releases, which you can write yourself. I mean, you can hire somebody, by the way, to write those for you. I have training in that. I could definitely do that for you.
Yeah.
But, you could put one of those together yourself. Write a little bio about your band and the genres that you're in and your influences and things like that. Put a little package together and then send that to all the local media outlets, and then try some of the other the bigger ones. Like you like Rock Feed or whatever.
Might as well, honestly.
Try them and try 100 other ones just like them.
Exactly.
Somebody's going to pay attention.
Exactly. And it's like this step process that we kind of covered before. It's like, take all the time that you'll ever possibly need to create the art piece you genuinely care about. But then the moment you seal that into a package, throw that marketing, throw that business cap on, and get ready to put just as much care into that as you do the art.
Yeah.
Because that's how you create the full package, as people put it.
100%. So, speaking of the people, we got anybody in the comments? Anything interesting?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Okay.
A little bit late today, but I've been watching the viewer count. Viewer count's consistent.
Yeah, it's been good.
I guarantee they're just as captivated as I was. I gotta remind myself to change the camera. I know we kind of touched on this when we had the intro video going, but Seamus said, Andrew, how is the orange boy doing?
Oh, he's doing great. Yeah. Did we touch about this? Did we talk about this on or off camera?
This was off camera.
This was off. Oh, so on camera, he just celebrated his 9th birthday a few months ago, and he's thriving. Living his best life.
Derek also celebrated his 9th birthday.
Happy birthday to me.
We got Chris Lloyd, the
Chris.
absolute talent that is sitting on that couch right now.
Yeah.
And then
It's very warm.
Yes.
I mean, do you want a cold couch?
Yes.
It was just a tad more butt room, just a little bit.
Yeah.
I'll see you tomorrow,
Well,
Chris.
that's what I said next. I'm like, they all fit on it. When you're talking about being careful about like who you're showing the video to, especially like the happy one. Chris also said that you did that to him with Apparition.
Yeah, he was going through a tough time in his life, and I was like so excited to show him that. And then when I did, he was definitely emotional, and I felt very bad. Yep.
Yeah, I remember like the
Does it happen
YouTube comment section got kind of
Yeah,
bizarre.
there was people there was people relating to that song with their dead pets.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And they were telling stories about how they had to go through that.
Yeah.
And
I mean, though, that's kind of the point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a sad theme, but isn't kind of our goal to sort of like evoke emotional response in people?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's funny because my brain, for that song in particular, just wasn't there at all. Like, it's like, because I didn't write the lyrics, obviously. So from my point of view, I was just like, yo, we just like put out this really neat song. Like the branding, the visuals are all great.
this person's talking about their dead cat in the comments section. I was like, yeah. So it was oh, all right.
It's cool. I mean, you can just see it as guiding somebody through their own grief. I think it's
absolutely.
really
I think
cool. And
caught me off guard. Yeah.
My favorite thing to do when writing lyrics is to try to be relatable. To try to be as relatable as I can. So like, because everyone experiences loss and
big dead cats.
and 100%. and I just try to be very relatable in everything possible you can think of. So yeah.
Well, and that's the thing too, is I never want to, when we dive into a lot of the songs, and a lot of artists will mention with the caveat of like, but you can interpret it how you want. And I'm like, that's right. That's what I always want to assume that whenever we dive into that kind of stuff where, yeah, this means something to you and you wrote it about something, in your life, but you can relate to it however you want. Like, right. I hope that never ruins it for you, so to speak. Oh, that's not what it's really about. It's not really about my dead cat. Well, no, right. Of course.
Yeah. No,
obviously. Yeah, exactly. I think once you put it out into the world, into the ether, then it becomes everybody's.
Yeah.
So then it is free to interpret however you want.
I've talked about this multiple times, but like, even with the I'd Be Lying, like there's no cohesive storyline. It's just a collaboration of different songs about mental health. Yeah. And after we released it, it was all done. I've had people like find some sort of symbolism and story with it, and I'm like, I didn't even see that. So I love that.
People
with this
create
record,
their own narrative around it.
Yeah, and I'm really stoked to see the different interpretations on this record and see, I want, because like there were some reviews that came out of it, and they explained what they think the album's about, and I'm like, they get it, they got it, but on a certain level, they understood. Is there any other questions?
Yeah, we're gonna shout out to Derek's dad.
Yeah, that's my guy.
That's the guy. We love Tony. He said, "Nice dance, Andrew."
Yeah, I want to watch that later.
It was a good dance.
And I said, I think he should have done a flip.
Hey, do a flip.
You would hear everything go crashing down.
I thought you were gonna spin into one of the.
And
I was getting close.
All right, we got Sarah in the comments.
Nice.
Say hi, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
She said, "Steal Like an Artist is a fantastic read for every creative."
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
She's going through that right now.
Oh, nice.
Right. And then we have on YouTube, Blues Rock, that's asked, when do you expect the rest of the videos to be released?
Good question.
That's my dad.
It's interesting spelling, too.
Henry.
Yeah, none of your business. No, I'm kidding.
We have the dads in the comments.
They're periodically coming. We're not going to say definitively, but the story will roll out over time.
Yeah.
I think we'll make a big stink about
Big time,
when everything is done, because we want to promote that as a full package.
Yeah, when all the videos are out and then all.
Do we want to be specific about that? Or have we gone?
I think Eric already was at one point. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think there was anything on Insta.
Sweet. Yeah.
Sweet.
All right, cool. So I think the only other question that I had written down here that I wanted to mention, you had mentioned your faith and struggles with faith and stuff like that, and you guys have gotten some positive press from like some Christian rock sites and things like that, which is really cool. But obviously we wouldn't label you as Christian rock per se or anything like that. It's more of like how you would interpret it or whatever.
Yep.
But I do find that whole world interesting, because there are a lot of bands who like maybe have a Christian or a Catholic or somebody who's just religious among them that might put something in a song here and there, and then you have a whole separate genre where like every song is explicitly about Christianity or, talking about Jesus and things like that and that sort of thing. It's obviously not what you guys are doing.
Right.
But there's definitely some little crossover in terms of fans and people listen to that kind of stuff and that sort of thing. So I guess I just wanted your kind of general perspective on kind of putting that stuff in there and is that something that you're really consciously thinking about, or is it just kind of what comes out? Or
yeah when writing, like I said before, my faith is always present when I'm writing music, and that's the only, I'm going to be brutally honest, it's the only time it is really present. I would love to dive deeper into that, but I mean, it's just the way life goes, is that I find more interest in other things, and that's kind of on the back. But when I write music, it always seems to come alive there. And but yeah, when we were writing some of these songs, I was being very intentionally religious with some of the lyrics, and we all collectively thought maybe that's not the right move. I mean, we can have lament kind of very on the nose with that. But for majority of it, I just try to keep it as vague as possible, so whether you believe in God or you don't believe in God, you can still find some value within the words and relate to it, and and really dive into the narrative of either you believe or you don't. There's still something there that you can.
We just had an interesting conversation with a guy whose band we respect a lot, and I remember we've been using the term, we're not a Christian band, we're Christian guys in a band.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he just, that was in the response that we had was from this guy in particular was just that's pretty much how I've lived my entire life. So so that's just what we call it at this point.
Yeah,
and it's just the lyricism could go in any possible which direction. It's just Derek chose that route, and so
right.
I think it's the best way, because we could fit really well on a Christian label, but also we can fit really well on a totally different non-faith centered label. Sure. And I think we can gain more of an audience that way as well, because we'll have fans over in that area and then in another area. So I think that's a good move.
I think when you're thinking of authenticity, it's just who Derek is.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So he's just gonna write who he is and what he's feeling.
Right. There's not an agenda there. Trying to preach at anybody.
Yeah,
it's just
Apparition. That was, I just really wanted to write a song about a ghost.
Yeah.
I love horror movies. I love that kind of imagery. So I'm let's just write a movie about a ghost. And then people related to it in such a personal, deep level that I'm just oh my goodness.
I think people relate because it is it's authentically just genuine who you are. You're just this is just me.
Right.
And it it just kind of pans out the way it pans out.
Yeah. And so I just think at the end of the day, whatever audience comes along, we're just happy that they're there.
Right.
And so it's very interesting that a lot of Christian based media outlets and their fan bases just kind of came along, because we, like you said before, that wasn't the agenda. We didn't set out to be this is our target audience, guys. This is what we're gonna do.
No, I've never gotten that impression from anything you guys have done.
We just kind of put this out in the world, and we were like I said before, we care about it deeply. So we were just we tried to get it out to everyone, because we cared about it so much, and whoever takes it in and interprets it and enjoys that interpretation, they just jumped on board, and we're happy to have you here.
Yep.
Right. Right. Well, and obviously this record being so much about mortality and those questions and thinking about those things, that even as I'm a person who is absolutely not religious at all, but it's not like I don't think about those questions. It's not like I don't have the same thoughts.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not like I've had those. I mean, those in 42
questions.
years of life, you genuinely think about those things all the time.
Exactly.
Something comes up, somebody in your life is dying or dies suddenly, or there's 100 different scenarios that will make those kinds of thoughts pop in your head and make you think very things. So it's very, whether or not you're religious, it doesn't matter.
It's a universal thought.
Exactly.
Amongst,
we all
humanity
debate those things. We all think about those things and how we feel about those things.
It's a very real emotion. Yeah.
And so it goes right back to what Eric said before. It comes from a genuine place. You put yourself in a position as the lyricist of someone who is going throughout something that is very real amongst humanity, and you tried to process their feelings as a human being. And I think that is just how the world took it in. Yeah,
absolutely. As a comic book guy, obviously I'm a big Daredevil fan.
Right.
Daredevil is a big Catholic.
Yeah.
And he's always struggling with his faith. And that's a huge part of his character, huge part of the comics.
Right.
They really have done a great job of incorporating it into the Netflix show, which then became the Disney Plus show that's on now.
Right.
Highly recommend that show to anybody who wants to get into Daredevil or is even remotely a fan or interested in that kind of stuff in general. But those philosophical questions will come up even in something as what people would say is fun and silly as superheroes.
Yes.
It's like they have those questions because it's like they're vigilantes. So they're constantly deciding right and wrong. I never understood this whole argument, especially online, of people like, I don't want morals or debates or anything, whatever in my comics or in my movies or in my whatever. And it's like, it's there whether you admit it or not. And it's been there from the very beginning. It always is part of it. Yeah, exactly. Because literally the whole point of superheroes is things are good or evil, right or wrong.
Yes.
And then the gray area in between.
Yeah.
And like people making choices about whether or not they're going to do the right thing or the wrong thing, or kind of be somewhere in the middle somewhere.
Right.
So you're naturally going to have those conversations.
Yeah.
But I love that character. I don't have to be a religious person to appreciate that.
Exactly.
In the same way, I don't have to be a religious person to appreciate a good piece of music that's written by somebody who's Christian or something like that.
The journey from your perspective. You're along, you understand his thought process, interpret it as your own.
Yeah.
You both are of the same nature.
Yeah.
So it's just like it's foundationally, you're going to think about similar things.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, even recently, to bring it back to music, I had seen an interview with Seven Dust that got some interesting little press, and I kind of watch this stuff from afar and see what other websites are reporting on and talking about and things like that, like what catches people's attention and stuff. And a lot of times, it's not a thing I agree with, but a lot of these websites will take other people's interviews and they take a little snippet out of context and they blow that up into the headline and they make that the thing. And then they put that out as their article, which it's like, don't call it that because you didn't put any actual work in.
Exactly.
And then they will, exactly. They'll put it out there and then basically it's social media bait. It's like, everyone's going to have an opinion on this or that because this person said this. And it's usually taken out of context, so it doesn't really help that person.
Derek's writing about dead cats?
Exactly. That's exactly it. Exactly. And you said that, so therefore it's a quote.
That's
you can't sue me for libel. You actually said it, like that kind of shit. And I love Seven Dust. I'm a huge Seven Dust fan. Grew up with those guys, seen them a million times, got to interview them a few times.
That's awesome.
Really, really cool people. And I think it's always been kind of clear that there's some Christian guys in there. One of their first hits, Angel Son. It's pretty obvious what that's about. You watch the video, it's like, it's pretty, it's their friend who passed away and they're thinking about him and is he in the afterlife now? Is he watching over us? That kind of stuff. It's one of those songs that I don't have to be a religious guy to choke up when I that video. It chokes me up. It gets and I'm not a person who really gets into that kind of stuff, believes in that kind of stuff. but it really like it's
resonates with you.
It resonates with me because it's like I've lost people too. I've lost friends and I've lost family that meant a lot to me, and it's like everybody. That's
everybody
universal.
does that,
right?
Yeah.
So here we are, how many years later, where they don't really they don't promote themselves as a Christian band, and they don't really get into that kind of stuff. But obviously, if you listen to the lyrics every once in a while, something like that comes up,
right?
And I could definitely tell that I at least in my interpretation, that the singer has definitely struggled with his faith. And there's some songs where it's like he sounds like he's more on the lines of like, this is I believe this, and then other times it's like I don't know if I do that, and you doubt. So it's always there.
That's where the band member or the songwriter becomes like the daredevil in this situation. Because you're starting to like, oh wait, you're a human being. I could relate with you because you're not always portraying this one narrative.
Right.
You have mixed feelings on different things. And I can relate with you now.
And you can write, that's another thing people don't get. You can write from a character's perspective.
Yes.
It doesn't always have to be you. People just assume every single song should be taken verbatim as that person just yelling their feelings at you or exactly what they think. And it's like, but you can be an evil character. You could be a bad character. You could sing from the devil's perspective if you want. Like that doesn't mean you're the devil now, or that you're. He's speaking.
You're trying to convey
like
the emotion in its purest form.
Right.
That's
exactly. So you're writing as this character. But so they had interviewed the guitarist, and I guess he's kind of been up and down, and now he's kind of in that. I'm very devoted now. I'm going to church. I'm very very faithful now. Whatever. So then they made that's the debate of like, oh yeah, they've
Seven
gone
Dust
Christian,
is a Christian
now.
band now.
It's like, oh, suddenly they're. It's like, come on,
exactly.
Yeah, you're really stretching it there.
It's
really
the moment you put the box over it is the moment the divisiveness begins.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Exactly.
Then the comment section is just like, well, I'm not going to listen to this band anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, no, they didn't.
So silly.
They didn't say that.
No.
Yeah. Exactly.
But it's easy to take stuff out of context. So don't do that. Don't be cutting up this interview now and take it out of context.
Right.
But I appreciate you guys getting a little deep with me on that.
No, of course.
Absolutely.
And personal, because it's I think that kind of stuff is personal to each person.
Yeah.
And
like the hope at the end of the day is that like someone's gonna listen to this and just be like, that was a real conversation.
Yeah.
And they hopefully take away something from that in their own artistry
and
if they go that route.
And you can respect everybody.
Exactly.
And their different beliefs and things too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So anything else you want to mention about maybe the show you got coming up tomorrow, or anything else about the Jazz Cafe?
Yeah, we're really excited. We've been preparing, and we're stoked to celebrate with everyone. We are playing our entire record, Wither Grow, tomorrow night at the River Street Jazz Cafe. If you're free, if you want to support some local music, if you are not doing anything,
if you are doing something, cancel
that.
Then come over here.
Yeah, music. Doors are at 7. Music is at 8, and Feverton and Look Back Luna are playing, and we're gonna be selling a whole bunch of brand new merch that has been up for pre-order for a couple months. Now. And we're just stoked to see it at the merch table
for the first time in all of its glory.
We're also very excited to play 95% of this record for the first time live, so you don't want to miss that.
Yeah.
And maybe the only time that we'll play it top to bottom.
Top to bottom. Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be a special event.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a thing now. We're a band with a lot of songs now.
Yeah, we can actually pick and choose what we want to play.
So we haven't even gotten to that conversation yet.
Yeah.
Of just like from this like.
You know why? Because tomorrow doesn't matter.
Exactly. Most of what we do is in that like 25 minute set. Yeah. Like, and it's like what are we gonna do? We don't know yet.
Yeah. That's gonna be a lot of fun.
We'll see you there.
Yeah.
And will you guys have copies of the original record as well?
Oh yeah,
we will. Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
Cool. So we will close out with I'll read everything to you guys here. So Much Hope Buried will play an all ages album release show for Wither Grow at the River Street Jazz Cafe in Plains on Friday,
June 26th with Lookback Luna and Feverton. Doors open at 7. Music starts at 8. Tickets are $15 in advance or $20 at the door. And both albums by So Much Hope Buried, I'd Be Lying to Say I'm Not Weak and Wither Grow, are available now on all major streaming platforms. You can also pick up CD and vinyl, of course, which I highly recommend you do, especially with local bands. I think it's so important. But any artist really, Spotify, all that kind of stuff, as we all know, doesn't really pay very much, if at all. And you can really show these guys that you support their music and that it means something to you by having a physical copy. And I don't think you'll regret it, because this is a beautiful package you guys put together here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else you want to mention?
We love you.
Yeah.
There you go.
Thanks so much for having us.
Seriously,
Yeah, Rich,
thank you.
it means so much that you invited us on. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, happy to have you. I couldn't do it last week. We had a bunch of stuff going on, so I'm glad we were able to get this in before the release show.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Glad we made it work.
Yeah.
All right,
Awesome.
so and now it's up to you guys to like, comment, share, all that good stuff. I could see that there's still people watching, so it means you really liked the show, and that means you should tell people about it. So, do all those good algorithm things, like, comment, share, so that it reaches more people, and we can get the word out. And we will do the same again with another NEPA Scene podcast next week. So tune in then. Thank you so much, and have a good night.
Cool.
Didn't even flinch.